Hello, everyone, and welcome to State of the Realm. We have patch, we have content, and it's done already. No, seriously, no. It's a fun patch. Patch 6.51, Splendor's Tools, Variant Dungeon, Criterion Dungeon, and of course, the Fall Guys collaboration. We're going to be talking about all of that, but largely focusing on Criterion today because it is the meat of the content. I know some of you may disagree, as some of you are working towards being the king and queen beans of your respective servers. So, I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Happy. Of course, joining me is Sly. How you doing, Sly?
Hi.
Hi, Sly.
I was just telling the chat that, like, because we're doing something different this week, they can hear the production side. So when you tell everybody to mute their mics and everything you said, yeah, they can hear the production side now. So yeah, you're getting a new side of State of the Realm.
That's actually only because we're doing it this way. That's actually only because we're doing it this kind of jank way where we're like in between the two methods. Yeah, so that won't happen on a normal run because I have complete control over it on the production side. All right. Either way, that's funny because they get the little behind the scenes. But to do this show, it's not just going to be Sly and I. I've brought in a couple of people from the team that I had the privilege of doing the last two Criterions with, actually. Both Mount Rockon and the most recent one. First of all, we have joining us again, as he has several times before, Woops.
Hello.
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 I'm in a Fall Guys match right now. Full transparency.
Literally got out of bed 15 minutes ago, got in here, joined Fall Guys.
Hop on Fall Guys.
I mean, I
Got
can't
my priorities straight.
I can't blame. Are you working towards 100 wins?
Yes, slowly.
Is it like an actual thing you care about?
Yeah. I mean, it's here for like 2 months?
Yeah.
People are like grinding it out right now with 24-player lobbies. Dude, I'm going to wait like a month and a half, go to Dynamis at like 4 a.m. and then just do it in one night.
Farm wins. Just farm wins just off of Dynamis. Wow.
If you're lucky, you
there's
get
only
into
gonna be
solo
like one or
ones
two
now.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, have you ever joined, before we introduce, I guess, hold on, let me introduce the other guest first before we start branching off into a whole different conversation. And joining us for the first time, someone who I've rated with, shut up, phone, I'm in the middle of an introduction. Sorry about that. Joining us, someone who I've rated with several times this expansion, but they've never been on State of the Realm before, and that is my buddy Biffolo. Hi, Biff.
Hello.
Thanks for joining today, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was an open invite, and you said yes. Imagine if I just said not you.
Dude, I was going to be so sad.
Not this guy, though.
Oh, man. Well, either way, good to have both of you on the show. We're going to have a fun time talking about Criterion. How different is this conversation really going to be from the last two Criterion discussions, I wonder? At least a little different because it's the end of the expansion, Ivy, hi. Hey, we're in the middle of a show here. Say hi. There you go. Say hi.
Cat.
Now go over here and wait your turn. Okay? But yeah, like I said, that's largely going to be the topic. I think we'll brush across the other topics first because 6.51 is pretty limited in scope outside of Criterion. But that'll be the focus of it. So before we get started, thanks to our sponsors over on Patreon for supporting. They don't have to. They choose to. It's welcome. We appreciate it. Everything is available for free on both YouTube and in audio format. And State of the Realm is now simulcast on both Twitch and YouTube live on Fridays at noon Pacific. So if you want to catch the show live and you're not usually on Twitch at that time, you have plenty of options of just enjoying it. And then, of course, thanks to Steel Series. I love you. Oh, literally, look, see? I didn't even plan this. I just put this shirt on. I didn't even think about it. Yeah. So, 6.51. We're finished.
That was a fun patch.
As tends to be the case, especially with the point X1 and point X5 patches. It had just a few things added in. The hardcore got it done quick and are now, as Whoops will attest to, largely grinding out Fall Guys.
Yep.
And so I think maybe we should even start there, because Splendor's Tools is whatever. Like, I don't know if there's anything to even say about Splendor. Sly doesn't even like them.
Fuck it.
Splendor's Tools are just like, I don't know what to even think about.
I mean, I'll eventually, now that shit's dying down, I'll eventually do it. But
why?
Shiny.
What the fuck
Number
else?
go
I mean,
up.
like that. That's it. I mean, not like nothing stat wise. I mean, it's just something shiny to have. It's glam. It's glam. It's like going for it's like going for relics when like I ask the same question to people who fucking farm relics. I'm like, why? And they're like, shiny. So for me, it's the same thing. Yeah, shiny. Like stat wise, I don't give a shit about it. Like it's to me, it's terrible. But you know, shiny.
Somebody asked me about Criterion. Why did you do Criterion Savage? I said, shiny.
Shiny.
That was
Shiny.
the excuse I made because they gave me an excuse this time. Because clearly it wasn't the last time. It was Samurai, and then before that it was Wall Banner or Materia.
Oh, I just really needed a good materia farming method.
Yeah, so I figured I'd clear Criterion Savage once and then throw the materia on the ground. You know, the ideal way of doing it. And then the other not Criterion thing is the Fall Guys event, which has had a mixed reception specifically because of Final Fantasy XIV, which hardcore raiders.
So funny, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Biff, we haven't gotten you speaking much. Have you done any Fall Guysing?
I have once, but after Criterion, I just kind of didn't touch the game for like a solid day. Not gonna lie.
I can't blame you. I know that feeling as well. I'm not going to do something else in this game right now. I'm going to leave. Cat, stop fighting. I'm in the middle of a show. They're fighting right this second. Oh, cats. So yeah, I totally get that. On the other hand, I know our number one Fall Geyser here is Whoops.
What's up?
Are you in a match still right now?
Oh yeah, I'm in another one. Skull is completely convinced that they made this collab specifically for us too.
Yeah, is Skull also a big Fall Geyser?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, then what is your complete and unbiased opinion about it? Because it's definitely received a bit of criticism, mostly from non-raiders, hilariously enough. Where do you stand on its actual execution?
I think it's great. Visually, like, I know a lot of people haven't actually played Fall Guys before. I have a few times. It's literally copy-pasted. This is like one of the most well-executed collabs in a game I've ever seen. If we're talking purely like take game, put it in another game, it actually nailed it. Super hard. And it's fun. And I think it's actually a good thing that they're throwing raid mechanics into it, and they're fully and unapologetically displaying how bad the netcode for this game is, and people are like, why is this collab so bad? And then I'm like, you're almost there. Just one more mental step. Come on, you can do it.
What's the last mental step going to achieve for them?
This game is bad. Like, the netcode for this game is atrocious, and it always has been. And now that you're just getting competitive about it and you're watching other people alongside you run through AoEs, now you get it.
Yeah, it is one of those things that like longtime raiders have gotten so used to. It used to be a lot worse, believe it or not, when the game initially came out, and the game had a built-in, and I shit you not, 300 ms delay before your ping was taken into account.
Yeah.
That was a realm
Personally,
yeah.
Titan lag, baby.
Since I've played this game for nearly a decade now, I love it. I actually think it's really nice, and I think it makes a lot of sense personally, but I understand why people don't like the whole snapshotting bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just hard to get used to, and it's weird, and it doesn't make sense when you play other games that are modern, quote unquote. So
yeah, it's essentially, for those who are unfamiliar with raiding and are wondering what we're talking about, most, and I say most because there's always that one or two fucking abilities that don't follow this rule. When the cast bar is done, if you are in the spot, you are getting hit, regardless of the fact the animation will follow a second later. So
there's also a large misconception that, let's say for like the hammers falling in Fall Guys, right? If you touch that hammer when it's on the ground, you think you would get knocked off, or like if something physically comes into contact with your character, you'd get flying off. But that's not necessarily the case, because if you're standing right in front of an AoE or even walking into it as it goes off, it won't hit you and you'll walk through the object completely fine.
Yep.
And people are starting to realize that too.
Yep.
So like, the actual like obstacles and stuns and stuff like that aren't actually there. It's simply just a box on the floor that has one check as soon as it goes away. And if it sees you in it on the server, gone.
Yep.
That's it.
There are some physical objects in there you can't touch regardless. Like even if it's not activated. I think the cones in the slidey section, if you just even touch those cones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, that's also just a box on the floor.
It is
a persistent box on the floor.
Yeah. Pretty much. That's my worst section of all of them. Is that particular one. That fucking
The third
sliding.
one's my worst.
The swingy bit? Or do you mean the third map?
It's the one where you run up to the ground.
Oh,
yeah.
you actually run up to the crown. Yeah.
It's just the yellow orbs.
I think the one part of this game that actually is the most frustrating latency wise is when you make it to the crown first, but there's someone a few steps behind you, but technically because of your latency difference, they're on their screen ahead of you and they get the crown instead of you.
That's another really funny thing that people are starting to realize is that when you're running alongside other people, if they are right next to you, they're actually 3 steps ahead of you on the server. And if they're behind you, they're right next to you.
Yep. Yeah. It's
funny.
It's pretty. Yeah, funny is the word for it.
Because I've seen so many people tweet a screenshot. This is bullshit. I totally got there first. Actually, nerd glasses. No, you didn't.
I don't know. Where are my glasses?
Yoshi P disagrees.
Yoshi P be like, play better.
I do wish there was more variety, and I wish there were longer games. And something in Fall Guys that they do is like the squad playlist. I don't know how familiar you guys are with that.
Yeah, I know.
It's like bigger maps, and there's like multiplayer like tasks you have to do with your group of 4 players. And I think that would have been really fun. So if they ever do it again, I hope they do something like that.
You know what?
I give the collab a 9 out of 10, though.
9 out of 10.
As a whole.
5 maps. I mean, a lot of people were hesitant to think we'd get more than 3 in the first place. There's 5.
Yeah.
So already succeeding, I suppose. It is one of those things that when it goes away and comes back, you wonder if maybe there'll be more. You know, deep down there won't be more maps.
Nah, there's no shot.
But you also kind of hope that maybe they'll think like, oh, let's spice it up for next time and like do this a little different or add this thing or do
I mean,
that
well, to be fair,
maybe,
I don't think they're gonna.
To be fair, they did add shit to Yokai Watch like the second time around, didn't they?
Yeah, that's not a whole
I mean,
map, though,
2.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, 2 different things, but like just saying, it's.
I could see them adding new rewards.
10% possible.
Yeah. New rewards
Of like
totally
existing assets already in the collab, like more furniture items or some shit, or like maybe another framer kit.
Yeah. And the rewards are pretty good across the board. You
Oh my god,
10,000
Yes.
MGF total, I think, in order to get all that, which is super quick, actually.
it's super easy to get everything. What? I'm looking at it right now. Emote, minion, another minion, a mount, a song, 3 framer kits, a bunch of furniture. If you care about that. I think the gold saucer Aetheryte tickets are pretty cool. I'm becoming so Aetheryte ticket pilled, by the way. I'm learning the ways. I realize now why Happy's like, hold up, that's right, be right back. Like, I get it now.
I haven't paid for materia or a teleport in 7 years. 7 or 8 years at this point, ever since they first added the tickets. So,
Genius.
I mean, Blue Mage is for that too. You could just do Blue Mage every week, and that gets
the weekly Blue Mage thing.
Yeah.
I gotta start doing that too.
Yeah, there's all sorts of ways to avoid teleport costs. But then gold saucer Aetheryte tickets. I mean, if you're going back there, I suppose, never hurts.
I love Aetheryte tickets.
I think the most important reward is the jet black dies.
Yeah.
Well, it's gunmetal black, right? Or was it jet black?
I think it's jet black.
Let me look. I'm here right now.
Yeah, here you are right in front of it.
Yeah, it's gunmetal black.
Oh,
it's the same thing as the Island Sanctuary.
Okay. Yeah, and
that would ruin the jet black dye market, man. Those things are still like 500k a pop.
I know I hope you've been getting some from Bosia.
Can you get those from Bosia?
I'm pretty sure from the boxes.
Oh yeah, you can from the lock boxes. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are big wins when you get those from the lock boxes.
That's something else I want to talk about current patches when we get there. After we're done talking about the current patches, going back and doing old stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do a whole show based on that at some point.
Okay.
So don't you worry about that. I mean, we could talk about it here too, but yeah, that's
Yep.
that's something on the docket. All right, and now we come to the actual what I'd consider the feature content of the patch, in that of Variant and Criterion. Their third try, and of largely similar reception to the previous two tries, with one added caveat, in that of a quasi-ultimate type reward, I suppose. Before we get into the actual quality of Variant and Criterion, feedback, all that good stuff, I just have to ask, yay or nay on shiny tombstone upgrade weapon?
I mean, I'm not gonna say no.
But
I think is my stance on it, but I would have preferred something wholly unreliant on doing Savage, if that's what they're going for.
Yeah.
I don't think it makes sense to give a half reward, I guess. Because that's essentially what it is. And if you think about it, it's technically not even a reward at all. It is a way for non-raiders to get a 665 weapon, fundamentally, but
Not yet.
yeah, that requires the tomes, and that requires what? To buy tome weapons, you need the little ticket, right? Too. That's like
You need the
8 weeks of
tombstone.
normal or something.
It's 4 weeks now, and then eventually the Roborant will be available, not in P11.
Right.
So right now you would need P11S to even get this. Yeah.
Dude, just give me a ticket that lets me get a left side coffer piece of my choice, I think, is what I would have wanted. Something like that.
Yeah, like if they were gonna go for the shiny weapons, like I don't know why it's not just a totem, essentially, right? Like just let it be. But they just tied it to the tombstone weapons, which is just awkward. Because it's like Whoop said, right? Like you have to have the tomes, and then you have to have the little tombstone from 11. And it's just, I don't know. But overall, I'm happier with the weapons than what we had before, right?
Yeah, I like it. I do like it.
It's just, I saw a comment that I think accurately describes this. The Criterion Savage weapon has more steps than our actual relic this expansion.
Yeah, it actually does.
That was my favorite comment. I was like, fuck. They're right. I feel like I did just describe a relic weapon when I described getting the Criterion Savage weapon.
I feel like they either need to lean way harder into like BIS rewards, like rating rewards, or they need to just cut their losses and just go full cosmetic rewards and not try to do both. And so like add another mount, like think like the DRS mount.
Right.
Or add like the title's already there. The title's awesome, by the way. Oh my god, I love Epic Hero.
Well, Epic Hero is only for beating all 3 of them.
Yeah.
No, Force of Nature. Yeah, Force of Nature is a good one.
Force of Nature is pretty good too.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's got that. I mean, that's what they went for. I think they finally accept that it's basically Ultimate. So they said, well, what do we give from Ultimate? We'll just give all that. Except for a Framer Kit. The Framer Kit's from normal mode. But I mean, that's fine.
Yep.
Whatever. Normal's got to have something, right?
well, fuck, Jesus. Yeah. Normal's gotta have something, right?
I mean, it's that, or you're Biff and you actually get the mount in the 5 runs that we did.
You just go, oh, cool, and then just get it.
Yeah. He's literally like, ooh, a quack horn.
It's like, shiny,
motherfucker. Grats, by the way, on your quack. Now, will you sell it? Will it actually sell? Is the real question.
It will sell for more than it will be worth 4 months from now. So, yes.
True. There you go. Ooh, what's this? 150 million gil? Don't mind if I do. Yeah, good luck. Good luck with that. Yeah, I'm in the boat that Savage having the weapon, I think, is the actual right decision. I think it just needs to give you the weapon, though, not this whole weird path upgrade. Just skip all that and just say, if you have the manuscript, pick a weapon, you're done.
Yeah, pick the 665 weapon.
Yeah. I think that what's interesting is I think the most hilarious part is the blue mage weapon being in there.
Oh my god, that was the nicest surprise ever. Because I love that umbrella.
So you didn't know that the
shiny
blue mage umbrella.
No.
There's a shiny blue mage umbrella from Criterion. It's one of the reward choices
For what?
for Criterion Savage.
No.
You mean for what? Like, what would you actually do?
Like, yeah, why?
I know
mage
why.
You have all these 655 weapons and then a blue mage weapon that's what item level?
530.
530. It's current bits
For fucking
Blue
what?
Mage.
Okay.
Good question, man.
One of these things is not like the other.
Well, so
here,
the
look.
the
Here's a
reason
screenshot.
why it's there is actually a definitive reason why it's there. All of these weapons were contest winners from the same contest, so they just stuck the blue mage contest winner in as well. That's it. That's the reason. They're all from the same weapon design contest.
It's got bubbles and it's blue.
That's not why it's there, but that is indeed what it is. Sly, for you wondering, Sly, that's it. That's the reason it's there.
Yeah.
Oh yay.
You did. I mean, I know Whoops here did pick the blue mage weapon, so you are looking at a blue mage weapon enjoyer here.
I mean, I don't have any other tome weapons. Why would I buy a tome weapon? If I want a 665, I'm just gonna go, hey guys, want to do a quick P12? And my friends will be like, yeah. Then we just go do P12. It takes fucking, what, like 20 minutes?
Yeah. Maybe you like the other glows more.
I don't.
My decision to hoard the solvent and the tomestones, which have been hitting the floor for weeks, paying off huge now, because now I can just all I have to do is go clear Criterion Savage like a half dozen more times, and then I can spend all these.
All you gotta do is just go clear the mini ultimate.
How hard can it be?
It's like clearing any other ultimate. It's like saying, oh, let me farm DSR today. It's not much different.
Well, the thing is, there's more people that know how to do ultimates than Criterion, which is crazy to think about, but it's true.
I've seen a fair number of people who are Penta Legends be like, fuck this boss at Criterion.
Yeah.
Like, unironically, across all three Criterions, the number of ultimate level raiders I've seen be like, yo, I can't fucking do this. I give up. I can't fucking do this. It's been staggeringly high by surprise. It's like, no, I'm rotating. It's puzzles. No. Portals. I can't do portals. That's it. I give up.
The portals.
The fucking portals.
Criterion make brain hurt.
If you can do big chess, you can do this.
No. Although, ironically enough, Bozia ended up being a big help this Criterion. Like, weirdly enough, Bozia knowledge actually made this Criterion easier. Like, I don't know how it worked out that way, but it actually did. Okay, yeah, so that's it. And then on the flip side, you mentioned you wanted the item level upgrades. Whoops. Do you prefer they just take that so separate from this? Like, let's just say they leave the Savage weapon in. How would you feel about them adding that to normal? Do you think normal should be a viable gearing option if they're gonna make it that difficulty?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Criterion normal it's the same difficulty. It's just the endurance check of Savage.
Yeah, the question is valuing the endurance check as kind of the gearing check versus just the average difficulty of the bosses being worth and well enough.
I think I'd kind of prefer all the rewards just be behind normal and Savage be like some kind of cosmetic reward.
Okay, yeah. Biff?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty much on the same page as Whoops there. Like, really lean into Criterion Savage just functioning like an ultimate, right? Like, give me a title, give me something shiny, and I'm chilling, right? That's it. But I think that if you start putting like actual meaningful progression behind Savage, I don't know. I think that's a lot to ask of people, you know?
It is a lot. It is definitely a lot. We're going to talk more about Savage later. I saw a suggestion about Savage that I think could actually make it better. And not as a progression sake, but just as that mini ultimate, maybe a little bit more. Something more fun, or even not even as a mini ultimate, but as a genuine normal to savage and not the same dungeon, but LOL, don't die. Or let the dancer die and just beat it without him, I suppose. That's the other.
Have your
So,
dancer be dead for a minute and a half and then still win.
yeah, that's a great strategy. That seems to have worked out just well enough, I suppose. So let's start with variant. Because variant's kind of the accessible content. You know, this is the thing that when anyone wants to get into Criterion, they're going to go through variant. They're going to go through the bosses. They're going to go through the paths. It's the thing that anyone doing the content is going to approach first. And it's been similar to Criterion, a mixed bag. But I guess just as a refresher, as how everyone kind of just felt about variant after doing it before we get into specifics with this one, is there anything likes, dislikes about variant, things that you want them to keep the same, things you want them to improve on when it comes to this entire concept, since we know we're getting a full nother expansion of them?
This might be a hot take, but I wish you could do multiple paths, or like, I guess multiple of the little notes in one run.
I don't think it's a hot take. I think it's just fundamentally different from how it's designed.
Impossible.
Because like, I think seeing all the paths is really fun. I don't like having to do like the left side 3 times because I need to either pick rock, paper, or scissors with like almost no difference. And if there is a difference, it's like the boss skips this one attack.
Uses this instead of this, yeah. Which is pretty much what you're doing the entire time, right?
I wonder if that gets better if you just like put the decisions that get made for the notes earlier in the paths, right? Like make the branches earlier. I think it feels bad when the decision is at the very end and you do like 95% of the same stuff. Point. Yeah. So I think even like just moving the decision trees earlier in the paths would go a long ways towards helping with that.
Weren't in I'm gonna say either Rock On or Still DN, weren't some of the decisions before the halfway point?
Nope. The only decision before the halfway point on all of them is to change the first boss. None of them affect the last boss.
Yeah.
They all have those decisions. They all have some form of decision before the first boss. It's just irrelevant to the end result.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's really just a matter of actually picking the first boss mechanic out of curiosity.
Well, yes and no. Well, yeah, you're right. It didn't affect. Yeah,
no, it doesn't affect any of them. I've done a lot of variant. Very well versed in this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I kind of wish like both the beginning and midway was like decisions would affect everything. Like you're saying, like. And I guess we can. I mean, are we going spoilers? I mean,
oh yeah, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't care. I haven't done the last 4 routes, like which is right. I've done left and middle. So
I hope you like guns. Then.
Yeah.
I hope you like fairies that know magic and wonder and this gun that they found.
How do you feel about whoopee cushions?
I love whoopee cushions.
When's the Whoops-themed whoopsie cushion? New merch.
Yeah, kind of like the what I was referring to, the middle route where you pop the things on the ground and it turns the water poisonous, but it's only for like the next boss. And I'm like, well, how could like I thought it would affect the entirety of the rest of the dungeon. No, it's just
It's funny because some of the guides say that it does, but it doesn't. It has no impact at all in any capacity. And I knew it wouldn't. As soon as the guide said, "Oh, you have to do this," I was like, "No, you don't." I knew instantly it was wrong, but I was like, I'm not going to fight it. But yeah, I think one of the big things that stops the paths from being as interesting, and the reason why I think it's reasonable to wish you could do more than one at once, you could just obtain more notes, is The fact that it does change so little at the end, I think if there were different bosses for some of those decisions, or some of those decisions were more strewn about, had more than an impact of kind of the path you take to get to the end, plus one interactable, that would go a long way. Like if it only changes one thing on the boss and the boss is otherwise no different, it makes it a lot less exciting when you get there. But it'd be nice if you could, like, let's say, I guess on the left path, let's say you could choose to have Matsuya fish, and that's one note. Right? And then choosing between the bait and the stone is another note. Because those decisions, that it's literally one path that leads towards two different decisions, but then you start to think about what actually like defines the note itself, and then the boss is different in some way. Yeah. So there's all sorts of bits and bobs there to consider. I think my only change, I don't really mind that much. I don't mind running it 12 times. It gets a little snoozeville, but it's not the end of the world. I want a roulette for variant. I've said this a million times over. I hate that they put all that effort into those dungeons, and then by the time you do it the 12th time, you're not doing it ever again. Probably.
Yeah.
It's like perfect roulette content too, right? Like it's pretty low brain power investment. You just kind of like throw four people in there together and just go for it, right? Like,
Yeah. And I think you can like change jobs and everything in there anyway. So it's like you're totally free to just fix whatever you get in there. It's not so simple to make a roulette for it because it's in the VNC finder and not the duty finder. So it does need to be like programmed from scratch. I think 14 is best when it makes something that you then occasionally do as part of like your routine. And you're like, oh shit, I haven't done this in a while. You know, you get kind of like that hit. It's like when you get a dungeon in your roulette that you haven't seen in like years, and you're just all of a sudden you're just like, whoa, forgot about that. Man, been crazy. I remember doing Never Reap. Sly, don't panic. Don't panic. Never Reap wasn't that bad, I swear, Sly. Somebody's scarred from the start of Heaven's War.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm pretty sure it was, but yeah.
Yeah, like he's misremembering something. I don't know what it is.
I'm sorry, I didn't have any problems with tornadoes. All right, and that has been doubly reinforced here in Criterion.
Our problem wasn't the tornadoes. The problem was with it just being there for God knows how long.
I hated picking up the totems more than I hated the tornadoes. I was like, don't make me stop DPSing to pick this thing up. Get the fuck out of here. Make the tank do it. I don't want to do this shit. All right. Yeah, and what are rewards? Are just okay? No one really cares. Minion, all the stuff you get from the coins, whatnot. Because the thing is, the coins give you enough to get all the rewards. You don't really have to do it again unless you want to sell the rewards, which is kind of a strange way to balance it.
I really like the emote. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's it. Now you don't care about the structure of it, but you got a nice emote out of it.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't know. Like, this is something I've kind of went back and forth on a little bit. Because on one hand, it would be nice to have more incentive to do more variant, but at the same time, it's also kind of nice that on your last run to get all your notes and like seeing the last path, you're also done. Like you have enough to buy everything, right? It kind of ties everything up in a nice little bow, which I think is a good feeling. You know?
Yeah, I'm always mixed. I'm always like, how do I make this content worth more over time? Because that's been Endwalker's chief struggle, is content lasting past doing it initially. So I guess that's always my biggest like pain point when I look at a lot of Endwalker stuff. So I think of how is variant made. And I think honestly the roulette's probably the best way to go. Just like force you down a path. You don't even have to make the decisions. You just run without having to do all the fancy stuff.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. It's very hard. That's way harder to program than it sounds, especially with the way it's made. But that's like my dream scenario. Like my dream scenario for Blue Mage is for them to get their own Palace of the Dead where they have to learn spells inside as they progress.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. That's my dream Blue Mage content. Is you start with only water cannon and you have to learn the spells you want from the mobs and you get more spell slots as you climb.
That sounds better than the battle royale
I forgot
idea that people have been constantly throwing around.
Well, Yoshida threw it around is why. He's like, we thought about doing a Blue Mage battle royale.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That would be really funny, you gotta admit.
It would be, yeah. Yes, Biff?
No, yeah, I was just thinking about the Blue Mage Battle Royale. It would be very funny for a bit.
Until
It'd
you're
be really
depressed,
fun
yeah.
like twice.
Yeah, and then you're like, all right, that was cool. I'm
And
never
then you
touching
drop
that again.
next to somebody that has final sting, and then you just lose.
But they would lose.
I know. That'd be the worst part.
That'd be so funny. It's like, well, I found final. Dude, that would be fucked up that that's even on the grid, unless I guess there's re-raisers as well.
Yeah.
You know, final stints. That's
Hi, Squidward. Smash.
fucking Christ. All right. That being said, variant itself, this one, I don't think I was as. I think the sights were really good in this one. I think I like the sights a little bit more than Rock On. I feel like Rock On was a little too samey across most portions of the path. But this one, I think there was a bit of. What's the word for it? Interest waned from doing variant by the third one. Is something that I felt, at least. Like the first in Sildy, when I did the 12 pads, I was like, oh, wow, that's really cool. Second one, kind of understood it, and it was okay. This one, it's like, okay, I'm kind of past this whole 12 paths thing outside of the true path.
That's part of the reason why I guess I said I wish you could do multiple paths at once. So I wouldn't have to do it 12 times and be like, by the sixth one, be like, I'm so bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could tell that from when we were in there, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. I
We were
was so tired.
audibly yawning, like, somebody else do this. I'm not going to do this.
I'm not talking to the fairy. I mean,
Now, because I didn't see your prog for Savage and whatnot. Did y'all do every path before? You didn't have to do every path before you.
But we did actually take what I think is a Whoops. Well, Whoops had a similar idea, but we kind of just like had a middle ground because like we all didn't really want to do all 12 paths before doing Criterion, but we realized we didn't have to. We could do 4 paths because we could all do our own and just not pick the same thing. So we could see all 3 bosses just solo, and then bring our information together, and then
Okay. Yeah.
that was very valuable.
idea.
We got a ton of information that helped us with the bosses a significant amount when the time came.
Yeah, that's definitely a good idea.
Like, Whoops suggested that we just get 12 people next time and send everyone down their own path.
And just,
Yeah, just get like 3 Criterion groups together and everyone agrees to go a different way. The only problem with that is one person would, the secret ending, you really only need 11 because the secret bosses.
you have to get all the other stuff.
Yeah. Well, not even that. The secret boss hasn't been a part of Criterion, so it's not even worth doing.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I was going to ask. Like, why? Like, why wouldn't they?
I don't think that's why, actually. I don't think it's because they don't want to spoil it. I think it's because they expect you will go right from variant to Criterion as like a raider. And thus, there's no chance you did the secret ending. Like, there's no information to glean from getting that, so it kind of just shocks you instantly. Like, you learn something about all of the bosses from all of the other paths. You wouldn't learn... You just learn that boss, and then you would get that boss. There's no difference in it. You know, there's no mechanic variance.
And see, Furry, I'm agreeing with you because like it feels like a Savage thing to do. You have your original 3 bosses who are basically the door boss to your Savage experience. What we normally know as Savage, like you go like in any final floor of whatever tier.
The secret.
Yeah,
the thing that only you get to do, and then the people who don't do Savage are like, what the heck? I want to do that, but I don't want to do Savage. It's like, well, too fucking bad. That's a problem for you then, huh? That happened a lot with Kefka. Because Kefka, it's like, here's 3/4 of Dancing Mad. Guess you won't hear the rest. That was fucked up. That's like the worst Savage they cut out ever was cutting out the final part of Dancing Mad from normal mode.
Yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, I really did.
That sucks.
It was fucked up. Yeah, they haven't made a mistake that bad since. But yeah, no, that's how it is, Sly. They're like, I want to do it, but I can't do Savage. And it's like, well, too fucking bad. Go learn it. Sly, sometimes you got to put your foot down with people when they say, I wish I didn't have to do. The number of times in the last year I've heard the word this should have been on the Mog station has been staggering.
Okay, this year, yeah. That whole axolotl debacle.
The axolotl,
there like, to be fair, there's so many things that outside of Savage and shit that should be on the Mog station. Shaker emote, I'm looking at you. But yeah, like still, why is that not there? Like, cocktail shaker emote. We can't get that shit. The fuck? But yeah, like that whole debacle, like that was probably the biggest. This should be on.
No, it's
Mog
not.
station.
It's not.
What is
my Bahamut mount is? Everyone thought that they should have made of like an actual Lynx for the Endwalker mount and put the Bahamut mount that I have from the 7 Lynxes on the Mog station. I've heard it a lot. Put apocryphal Bahamut on the Mog station and not make it the mount from the thing.
Still need to work on that, by the way.
Have fun. I paid 29 mil to get it done faster.
Jesus.
Well, if Jitter didn't take my fucking Zeramis, it would have only been 14 million.
Always blame Jitter.
It's his fault. He took it. I had a 93 and he just decided to outroll me, and that's his legacy now. But yeah, I've heard that a lot with the apocryphal Bahamut Sly. And it's not the only thing. And then on the flip side, you have the raiders who look at the boss mounts like Shadowkeeper and be like, Blue Mage? Hello? Haven't had a new Blue Mage mount in a while. Shadowkeeper would have been a pretty good one. Oh, can't win, Sly. Can't win. Just want content.
Hey, there's a Jitter.
Oh, yeah, I knew he was there. That's why I said it. I knew he was watching, so I made sure to say it. Damn it, made it the state of the realm. This is my legacy. Oh, Jitter. It's all right. I won't forgive you. Anyway.
Wow.
Listen, I can move on, but I don't have to forgive. These are two different emotions. So yeah, variant, paths, few bits of feedback. That's fine. Otherwise, I think mostly okay. Just a bit much at this point. A bit worn down on doing all the paths. Secret boss this time. I got to say also the secret boss from the first one was still the best one of all 3 of the secret bosses.
Yeah, but a lot of people did not like the Rock-On secret boss. I thought Rock-On's secret boss was okay. I mean, to be fair, it wasn't bad, but yeah, I kind of agree with you that the first one was better. I still have to do secret boss for Alo, but yeah, it kind of set, like, the first one for Sildi kind of set the tone, I think.
I think it did too. I think because for those who don't recall, the secret boss in Sil D is like an automaton that's like a super automaton.
That fight was really fun too.
Yeah,
it was.
All the puppet commands and it was actually relatively challenging. Unironically, if they had made like a Criterion version of that boss, I would have been afraid. Like on normal mode alone, I would have been afraid. Just seeing
that's the real Savage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, but the Rock-On one was just the dude with the big sword that kind of jumps around a whole bunch and clones himself.
It's a pipe.
Oh, that's right. It is a pipe. Yeah, it's a giant smoking pipe. Yeah, that's the whole thing, is that it's like shrouded in fog for that fight. Yeah. That one definitely did do it. And this one
I thought the aesthetic was good, but
I mean it's the Kugane / the that whole aesthetic, for the whole area.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And then this one, I'm sorry, Sly, but we did say spoilers were okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
This is a big ass Lalafell.
Wait. So we have the Lala, and now there is a actual Lalafell?
Yeah. It's like a giant, like...
It was a big Lalafell statue.
Yeah.
What was the purpose of the Lala then?
Read the card and the lore,
Lala, man.
and the lore bit. It'll tell you. The book will tell you about it. Tell you everything you need to know. I say that, and I'm not giving you an actual answer because I haven't read it.
I was about to say, do you know?
I literally,
Nope.
I skipped through all the notes just to find the hint for the secret ending. And then when I started reading them, I was like, Keo, you do it. I don't. I was like, there's a lot of instructions in these fucking notes to do the secret ending. That being said, there is a bunch of lore behind it. Like, the lore behind it, I think, is more interesting than the Sil. I think the Sildi had the best boss and the weakest lore for that boss. This, I think, is like an okay boss, but I think this one has the best lore behind the boss itself. So there is that, at the very least, for lore enjoyers. But yeah, the boss itself was meh. No real better or worse than the Rock-On boss for the secret boss. This one was a fucking wild way to get to the secret ending, though. Like, really easy to figure out, but fucking ridiculous what you have to do. Then again, the Sildian boss was like, do 4 emotes without spawning the boss. So. And then Mount Rock-On, I figured out in one try. Almost. Sort of. So, not too bad. Now moving on to Criterion. Oh boy.
It was a good one.
It was a good one. Are we all in agreement? The three of us who have done the Criterion.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You think so?
Well, I think we're all in agreement.
Okay.
I agree.
All right. I was gonna say. It's like, is there something you do? Oh, don't get me wrong. There's things we don't like. Sly.
Yeah.
You'll learn.
Okay.
Not me being dead. That's a result of the things that we don't like. But
Okay.
There's 2 things in particular I didn't like. Everything else was amazing.
and they all happen in the last
both.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Last 2 minutes of
The entire
last fight?
thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are 2 things we did not like. This one, I will say, this one's like the most middle ground Criterion, I think, of all 3 of them. Because the bosses in the trash are largely, they're way less problematic than the other ones. They're not necessarily easier as much as they're way less frustrating and tedious, but at the cost of being less interesting. So there's like, again, there's a middle ground.
I didn't like the other mob packs
In the other
from
Criterions,
the previous ones. I liked this one much more.
What did you not like about the previous Criterion ones?
They were really annoyingly hard. These ones weren't.
So you're
It's that
satisfied with
simple.
trash being trash, basically, and not.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to fight the boss. I want to fight the cool boss. And not wipe because somebody was like, oops, I brain offed for half a second and I'm dead.
I miss the wind sprites. That's all I'm gonna say. I miss them.
Shurikens?
Shurikens, wind sprites.
Shuriken. No.
Yeah.
Please, no.
Huton Shuriken?
Huton Shuriken. That was probably like my biggest point with this one, like relative to Rokon especially, and like it's minor, right? Because like it was still fun. I still enjoyed the trash, but I feel like it was missing some of that edge that like the trash packs in Rokon had, right? Because we were like constantly running around the room, and even in this one, like the rotation trash pack didn't feel anywhere near as scary, and I'm not sure why. But
Because there
something about
wasn't one dickhead in the middle in this super small room. And you
Yeah.
bring up a good point. All 3 of them have what could be defined as a rotational trash pack. All 3 of them do.
Yeah.
That's like a common trend. I wonder if we'll have. I hope that's not in every single one. Now that you've said it, now that I've realized it.
Yeah, it's there.
No, I mean going forward. I hope not every single one has a rotational boss pack.
Oh, yeah.
Or trash pack. I mean, oh, what if they put a rotational trash pack while you're doing the boss?
I wish. I hope.
No thanks.
That'd be fucked up. Imagine doing the first room of Rock-On while doing the first boss of Rock-On. Just that fucking dickhead doing laps around the arena the entire time.
I can tell you guys aren't melee players. It really shows.
I play melee. I play monk.
Yeah, I did one of my clears on Monk.
You should be super complaining then. Happy.
I did the first Criterion on monk. The very first one. Which was easy for melee.
And then you did the rest on Dancer.
Well, yeah, not because I wanted to, But because I've accepted my fate, they're like, hey, you want to join? Yeah. What am I? Don't ask. You know.
Fizz ranged, baby.
We know what
play
you're willing
gun.
to play. That doesn't change anything.
But it's gun.
It is gun. But it doesn't change
Gun
where
versus
I'm
gun.
being stuck. And I'm being stuck in a role that I have no issue playing, but I can play the other ones. I just always get stuck. That's why I don't give people Peloton. It's out of spite.
I see.
Yeah. I did Peloton in our clear, to be fair. I did do my responsibleness. Yeah, and I didn't even get the fairy's gun. Even if I was on machinist, the fairy doesn't even give me the gun. I want her gun.
Lame.
I want its gun.
Yeah, that is kind of lame.
It's just wild the fairy has a gun in the first place. This fairy has a fucking gun. Sly just a revolver. Just a 6-chamber revolver.
You think that,
And even if you got the gun, would you get the cards associated with the gun as well?
I think she just like found it on the ground on the beach. I think somebody just like forgot it there, and she was just like, "Ooh."
I
gun.
think the lore says that she made it. It's like made with her magic or something like that. I have to
That makes
double check.
sense.
Yeah, just wanted a gun. That's it. Because that is an actual scholar fairy. The lore says that's a Nimian scholar fairy. So I don't know. Yeah, dissipate this. Points gun at you.
You are the Aether Flow now.
Load you into one of my
Nom, nom,
chambers. Oh man. Where did that conversation start? Oh, the trash. Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, this trash I think is the only negative. I think it depends on how much you like trash being involved versus trash being trash. But that's about it. That's all there really is to say about trash. Then we have the bosses. And I think amongst raiders, there seems to be one common agreement about all Criterion bosses, all 9 of them, in that they are some of the best bosses we've had in the expansion.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I like a lot of the Criterion bosses more than I like a lot of the individual Savage bosses we've had in the expansion, right? Like, and it's not close.
It's not close. Damn.
They do so much cool stuff with the Criterion bosses that I guess they're scared to do in more quote unquote like main content like Savage, right? Because it's just going to be approached by more people. And I think it's unfortunate because like the Criterion stuff is really cool and it shows that like they can do really neat things, but they just don't always, and it's a little bit unfortunate.
Whoops.
How much do I like the boss?
I guess, I mean,
Bosses?
this is going across
Bosses.
all 9 Criterion bosses. Yeah. Like where
All
where's
9?
your feeling? Yeah, like the Criterion bosses, because they all have some sort of like similar-ish feel. Like you can look at a Criterion boss and look at a like Pandemonium boss, and you can see like fundamental design differences between the two of them. As
somebody who struggles with attention span problems, I'm sure you're aware with this for playing for so long. I really appreciate how fast those fights are and how packed they are with unique things. They keep my attention and they're hard, and I really like them. Is the bottom line up front, I suppose.
It is a really interesting element that they have to cram, because these are 5.5-minute bosses at the end of the day, and they're crammed in, and yet their prog feels. You feel similarly to when you progress a mechanic in, let's say, P10 or P11 or whatever. Because
unlike Savage, the boss doesn't do big trio and then auto you 7 times.
But Criterion does. We discovered that it does do one other thing. They will do 2 autos and a raid wide in the middle of the fight.
Yeah.
Not just at the beginning, also in the middle of it.
But it's just really fast.
Yeah. It's only 2 autos. And then it's another mechanic right after that. It's very few auto attacks from bosses in Criterion. They actually spend a lot of time not autoing to just make you do whatever shenanigans they want you to do. So how much of the other, because I know I think you jumped against the hamster, but I don't know how much time you've had for any of the Criterions in general.
None. Hardly any. I did say to my raid lead that I kind of want to do this one, just for the shiny. Because why not?
Just for the shine. Well, you need to do Savage. Yeah, that's the big thing. Is it's got to be the 23-minute slugfest against the Savage difficulty for the shiny.
Yeah.
Do you want the shiny spear? I thought the shiny spear was only okay. It's not the worst one, but it's definitely not one of the better ones, at least for me.
It's okay. I mean, I'd take it. I'd take it.
Okay, that's fair.
I was going to ask you, mechanically speaking, because I felt like they're mechanically speaking, between the Lala and Rock On Samurai, like similar mechanics.
Yeah, the rotation stuff. You mean?
Yeah.
I mean, there's like I said, there's a similar feel to all the Criterion bosses. There's a lot of we're going to give you stuff, and then we're going to adjust the way you have to use this. I mean, that was true even in the first one with like the portals rotating. You having to look at the clockwise versus counterclockwise versus are the stabs on the inside or are they on the outside? So I need to know if I go north or south.
God, the teleporter mech.
Yeah, the teleporter mech. Yeah, when I think of Criterion rotation mechanics, that teleporter mech is just the brain fry of all of them.
Yes.
Yeah. So this one, I will say this. I actually think Moko, the Restless, I think it is. I think he's the best of all 9 bosses, personally. I think he's
Which
the
one
most.
is that?
Fuck that dude.
That's the samurai.
The
from
samurai.
Rock-On.
Fuck that dude.
No, that one was really fun. Yeah.
Fuck that dude.
Sly doesn't like rotations. A lot of people struggle with that.
When I came into the Lala, like for variant, not that bad. But like him, Moko, and then seeing like, hey, we're gonna like clone ourselves and do this like all around you, and yeah, like fuck that dude. I'm like,
he does not like Moko. I fucking love Moko because he wasn't even really that hard. It was just, it's a little bit of fuckery that took place with Moko, but all the same. Yeah, no, Lala. I think Lala's the easiest of almost all 9 Criterion bosses.
Nah.
Really?
I think the only other boss that's contended for that is the second boss of Sildi. I think that's another really, really easy one. That's the one where he does like the charges and then it like either goes, he like pulses to tell you how many times he's going to like go or how big the AoE will be.
I think.
That one with the swords.
I think Silky was easy post clearing. Like I think Silky was harder to prog through than a lot of the other ones. I think it's a lot of just a lot of visual fuckery that was like brand new. It's kind of like how
that's the one that if you did the variant path of Silky,
life was
you would have been like, oh yeah, it was so easy after doing the variant path for it.
Yeah, I was mad when I went to do variant after clearing that Savage because I was like, oh, for fuck's sake,
That's why I keep saying it's worth it to do all the variant bosses before you start Criterion. Especially if you're going blind.
I like the 4 paths. I like the 4 paths idea.
Yeah, I think that's the strat.
Yeah, get the 4 different paths. No, I still think this is like the easy. I think that's also because this particular skill set is one I'm proficient in, so it ends up feeling like the easiest. Like I didn't really struggle with figuring out, the clockwise 5, counterclockwise 3. That's the big thing. Sly with the one in Criterion is instead of him just turning once, he turns 3 to 5 times, which is easy because it's either like counterclockwise 3 is clockwise 1, clockwise 3 is counterclockwise 1, and then clockwise 5 is actually clockwise 1. So like you can plus 1 minus 1 is how Whoops called it after we said it 5 hours ago, and then he finally said it again.
I was so mad. I was so mad, dude.
What do you mean I came up with that? I literally solved it.
Bars. Clockwise 1, clockwise 2, clockwise 3, bars.
There you go. Oh man. But yeah, no, I thought that was the easiest. But the first boss, so going back to the first boss, Alolan Kyogre, aka Ketaduke.
So good.
Yeah, this was the best first boss of the 3, I think. And I really like Shishio, despite those thunderclouds sucking a major dick.
I fucking hated
A
Shishio.
lot of people didn't like Shishio because of the fucking dance floor on the ground of just moving infinitely. It's like, well, I guess I'm not hitting the boss, or I guess all of them aimed at me at once.
I think I like Shishio more, actually. It's like close,
Really?
though. Yeah, I like when fights force you really heavily outside of your comfort zone, right? And I think like the storm clouds were a good example of that, is that you never knew if the game was just going to like relent and give you a breathing room, or if it was just going to decide like, nah, it's your turn in the Thunderdome, right? And I think that makes the like on a pull to pull basis a lot more interesting, because it just means you have to be a lot more on your toes and aware.
Yeah, because it's not like an intricate mechanic. Like Shishio doesn't really have any majorly intricate mechanics. It's got like a couple of, you got to dance around and end in this spot.
Mhm.
But a lot of it is just a whole bunch of spatial awareness.
Yeah.
That is frequently thrown at you. And yeah, the thunderclouds are definitely the biggest one of that. And then you get the ultra large thunderclouds. It's the same when they're like just fucking.
I
this
hated
big.
that pattern.
That one was really bad for me because there's
That
chance,
one made me feel so dumb because I straight up was like, where do I stand? And then it clicked in my head. They're like, oh, they didn't fucking test this on melee DPS at all. Okay, disconnects completely, goes to the wall for 15 seconds. That's just something you got to come to terms with when you're doing Criterion. Is like, even if you're like a world-class melee player, if you're like top of your game, thinking about uptime constantly, there's gonna be mechanics in Criterion where you have to disconnect for a really long time. And in Savage or Ultimate, if there's a mechanic like that, there's always a way, like post-prog, that you see somebody do it and you're like, oh, you could just do this and get full uptime, and like somebody can adjust for me, and yeah, there's a way. But in Criterion, nope. Hit that piercing talon, buddy. I think Jitter went through the clear VOD, and I had, what was it, Jitter? Like 25 piercing talons in our clear across all the
three
mob
bosses,
packs
yeah.
and all the bosses.
It's so funny. Because as a ranged, I'm used to being like out there and not really seeing anyone else doing things, but then I can just see the fucking piercing talon animation.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
It's insane.
It's really funny.
You have to, or you kill someone.
It does make you, it like Monk and Reaper feel a lot better in those scenarios because they don't actually have a ranged attack, but they do something that is like normal to their job in
Yeah.
that time. Like you can soul sow, or you can
You hit
change
the
form.
6-sided star and then you go like form shift, which like
Yeah.
if you really think about it, technically isn't better, but you're still like doing something.
At least that, yeah. I mean, the button press is still, it feels core to your job. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel like something you like, oh, I have to rebind this button I haven't had a use for in any reasonable scenario. And
Yeah,
some of that,
me watching my rotation just completely fucking drift, and I lose my power surge because I can't hit the boss. So fun.
hey, the good news is you could bloodbath and piercing talon,
Yeah.
heal from range.
Yeah. Oh yeah. My life surge piercing talon. So good.
Life surge, bloodbath, piercing talon. Yeah, dude, that crit heal that you're getting. Oh man. God damn it. And I think a big part of that, and that makes it, and Ketaduke is a really good example of that, is that Criterion is clearly not designed by whoever does the current Savage tier, because the hitboxes are fucking normal.
Yeah, it's so different.
And that's, I mean, I guess it does open that conversation up again, because people talk about how the Savage hitboxes have just gotten to the point where the whole arena is essentially uptime, regardless of what your strategy is, which of course leads to Melee saying, hey, casters, I would sure be ashamed if we did something that totally fucked you over, but I don't care. And instead here, the Melees are like, never mind, I want the big hitboxes back, please.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder where
Or,
the middle ground is
just-
for that, though.
Well, the middle ground is keep the hitboxes the same, because I think they're a good size.
You mean the Criterion ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Criterion ones. Make my spread not murder my buddy if I go max melee it.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like I could go max melee the the lift mechanic, the first one.
Yeah. But if it's
I could
Kyo,
totally go
then
max
you're
melee
dead.
that. But like, yeah, if Kyo lands adjacent to me, we're done because he might also do the same thing, which sucks.
Yep.
Now, I want to say one thing. Watching you that I did notice, like opposite spread stacks are kind of forgiving. Like the stacks, like basically were like, are you basically trying to stack? Are you within the area? It wasn't like, it's not as tight as Savage. It wasn't as tight as Savage.
It's pretty
where
big.
You just had to be on. Yeah, you could just like literally be in like four corners in like a tight four corners and still be okay. Like I thought the stacks were a little bit more lenient than in Savage.
The movement that I was doing to stack with Happy, by all accounts, should not have been correct.
It wasn't. I went over. I put out a thing today going over like all of our strats and why we did them. And I was like, this was incorrect, but we did it because it works.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched my POV of the second mechanic where
I have to do the
stack
same
or
thing
spread
you
first?
do. I have to do that on the other side.
But just imagine that on
melee.
Dragoon.
Yeah. Don't press jump.
Oh god.
Don't worry, Whoops, because next expansion, what's going to happen is your 5-part combo is going to be replaced by jump into high jump into super jump into Dragonfire dive into Star Dive.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
no shot, man.
No,
all on the GCD.
No.
No,
I don't think they'd do that.
No,
When
they're on drugs if they do that.
when it comes to there's absolutely no shot they'd have you movement lock that much after the feedback.
They'll get rid of the movement lock, but they'll still make you do it.
Well, it's gonna make you gap close then from max melee,
they're just gonna
which is the
change them
issue.
all.
If they change them all, then sure.
Yeah.
If they're just like normal GCDs, yeah, fuck it, why not? But I don't think they're gonna do that. When you have the show about the Dragoon rework or the Astra rework, give me a call.
Oh no,
I got lots
will
to talk about for that.
Oh, don't worry. I have a feeling that that's going to have to be a show. Like, because obviously, eventually, that'll be a whole job change show. But then after that, we do just the Dragoon show.
Yeah.
Dragoon and Astro show. Sly wants to be on that because he's a big old Astro enjoyer. He's a spread, a Royal Road enjoyer, I guess.
Stormblood card enjoyer.
Yeah. He's a Heaven's Word and Stormblood card enjoyer.
Based.
They don't make it like it used to.
For real.
I'm a time dilation enjoyer. I'll give you that.
I like my div is always full power enjoyer nowadays. I'm chilling.
The actual healer may be like, no, I'm good. I'm good. You leave it as is. It's fine.
Yep.
It's okay. You won't even have. They'll all be 1% AOE cards next expansion.
The Astra rework, I have hope because they have every time they've reworked the job so far, I've been happy. So there's no reason that'll change going forward. And don't say it.
Don't say what, Biff?
Don't say it.
Don't that. See, Biff, I'm glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm happy.
Thank you.
You're Biff.
It's true.
Yep. I'm glad you caught that I was about to say it because I was giving you a shit-eating grin the whole time you were talking. So,
as soon as I said
Here
it,
comes.
it's way worse when you can see me preparing for it, like physically see me getting ready to do it. It has a whole different layer to it. That's right. But yeah, Ketaduke. So again, we just keep kind of using Ketaduke to jump off into side tangents. Mechanically, one of those, a boss that I'm specifically not good at most of the time, and that is those fucking spring crystals. Like the big thing. So for those who haven't done it, it lays down crystals that do row or column AoEs, and at the very start they get shifted over. There's a whole bunch of visual noise to it and a whole bunch of rules to determine how to get where you're going. I am not proficient at that for some reason.
You must have hated the shit out of Big Chest, didn't you?
Yeah, big chess, same problem. Super chess, it took me a long time to be able to figure it out for myself because my brain just starts frying as soon as I get to like the third step of figuring it out. So this took me like basically like 10 of the hours that we spent in there before I was like really confident in doing it without a call out. But then we had Keo who figures it out in about half a second.
Yep. And then he's just like, this. And we were like, okay. It was nice to have that safety net, but I ended up finding my own method to solving it. And after watching other people like pre-position and think about where they're going to go stand, it was cool to see that there's like at least like 4 different ways you could approach finding your spot mentally. I like mechanics like that.
Yeah, something that doesn't have only one thought process, because that's honestly, anyone who's done prog, it's probably the most frustrating point of any prog is when you hit that point where there's one mechanic that is solved one way and you're trying to figure out everyone's thought process for it, but it's like hard to get everyone to that point where they can figure it out for themselves. This didn't really have that like kind of hurdle. It was just a matter of kind of just mentally processing it yourself long enough, and then it just kind of solves.
Yeah.
So I can see that. But then it's weird because the rest of the mechanics after that are all good, but they vary from just kind of happening to fuck this game. As I'm sure Whoops is well aware with stack first, spread second with what our strat was. Yep. Yeah. The second one has like Exa bubbles that go very slow. And we very early on committed to the idea of the melees will always stay on the north side of the room and the range will always stay on the south. That fight does not want you to do that way. And that made it way worse for us. And you know what?
Simply just pair a melee with the range. That's it.
Yeah, one of them swaps over like this both times. Yeah, one of them swaps to the other side. Because I'm sure you saw, we did it the other way once when we kind of just did the wrong rotation, but you were in melee range following the bubble the whole time. It was glorious. Yep. You just went right to Biff and everything worked perfectly. Mm-hmm. Not the way we did it though. Nope.
Absolutely not. Nope.
We just decided to play games with our lives the entire fucking time.
All right, you guys say that, and it felt sketchy, but it was consistent. It worked. I'm just saying.
So does Piercing Talon. That worked as well as also worked.
Our success percentage.
Let's just say
doing it
I did not
way.
get complimented nearly enough for what I was doing. Okay.
Well, I wasn't going to compliment you when I was doing it too. I was just focusing on me. Just because I'm ranged doesn't mean I'm pleased with what I'm being made to do. I must have said, can we change this like a dozen times? Then as soon as we agreed, we never saw it the other way again until Savage, where we then saw it one time, did it once and said, nah, fuck it. Let's just clear.
We said, nope.
Just do what we've been doing.
Oh, and the movement was so easy. I was very audibly upset that we only tried once. Fucking Piercing Talon. Oh,
I'm trying to get a clip of it. Hold on.
I know what it looked like. I had to do just because you're a melee doesn't mean.
I don't think everybody knows what it looks like.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. It was bad. It was really bad. Here's the thing. As much as it was okay for me because I was ranged, I knew how bad it must be because I was like, nope, this is miserable life for someone not playing Dancer at the moment.
I did it exactly one pull, and then you were like, I'll do it. And I was like, thanks. Because I'm sitting there just like looking at my cast bar like,
Oh, yeah. I was just like, Biff, just stay. I'll go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you knew that was on our side. We didn't agree who would end up in each square consistently. I just said, Biff, whatever side we're on, let me do it. I'm not making you do this every time. So it was like Biff could be southwest or southeast. It was just whatever the pattern was. I'm the one who did the fucked up movement. So, great times. Then the rest of the fight kind of coast, although so this was actually the funny thing. So I was the one who went down the left variant path, which takes you to Ketaduke in normal mode. I have never done one variant boss and felt more confident that I've learned everything I need to know for Criterion than the exact path I ended up choosing, which was path 3. I think it was note 3 on the left side path. I don't think there was a single thing we didn't learn from that path that wasn't relevant in Savage. Like going back, I literally don't think a single other mechanic. I guess the water with the bubbles lifting to the other side, that was one of the other things, but that was such an irrelevant. The rest of the fight taught you well enough that the variant didn't help with that. That was like common sense. There's bubbles. There's something on the room. There's 3 towers on that side. Like, duh. There's only one fucking way you even solve that.
Yeah.
Regardless. So it was crazy because the ads lifting up was the other hardest mechanic of that fight, and a really creative, just a creative mechanic in general, just with the ads and the different flow. It reminded me of Catastrophe in Omega with the lift, the gravity action.
Yeah, I can see that. It's probably my favorite mechanic from the fight, just in terms of being neat. Like it's just cool.
It's one of those when you do it, it just looks nice to like see it done correctly. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, it's basically the binds have to bait the bubbles. Although we probably made it harder on ourselves by trying to do directly out for the ads. We probably could have all just agreed on like center of the tile clockwise of it, and it probably would have achieved the same thing with less movement. But either way, the idea was executionally good and effective and worked. And then after that, yeah, the bubble mechanic took like 1 or 2 pulls for us to like nail down, and then it just kind of repeats after that. But solid first boss, definitely up there for first bosses for me, at least. A lot of visual fuckery that I struggle with, so that forced me to improve. And that's kind of the big thing with Criterion, is a lot of the bosses do force you to improve something you're not good at. I think someone on Twitter said to me, but there's not 7 other people for me to blame when I do something wrong. There's only 3, so I can't hide. They were like, that's why I won't do Criterion. I can't hide behind other people's mistakes nearly as much. At least you're honest, I suppose. But that's it. Yeah, you have to be personally responsible for every single mechanic in Criterion. There's really no saving it if one person decides they're not going to be responsible.
Yep.
Which is why it's so good. Then you get the
Criterion, very good.
Yeah. If you're trying to get better, like I understand that you may not want to reward Square for having shit rewards for you by actually participating, but you do owe it to yourself to do each Criterion one time and then not touch it again. Even if you don't do Savage, because you don't have to. I think if you plan on doing hardcore endgame, or if you plan on trialing someone for hardcore endgame, Criterion is certainly a thing, because they just can't hide. There's literally no excuse for anything.
I think it's the perfect trial content. It's also the main reason I do this. I've said this before. The main reason I even do Criterion in the first place is practice, or just getting better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because what if one day they throw tripwires from the first one into a Savage or an Ultimate? I was so ready for Omega to have tripwires. I was like, they're just going to throw tripwires in. Omega's going to, and then he didn't. And I was a little disappointed. Omega would have been imagine having to do Hello World, but there's tripwires. That would be fucked. Absolutely fucked if you had to do tripwires.
I'm down.
I'm down too. I mean, that phase is not really that exciting outside of the first time you see all the debuffs. So I'll take some tripwires in my top. I don't want to do top.
I finally found a clip of the spread first, or the stack first.
Yeah. It's weird because spread first was clearly better, but it couldn't have been. You still probably had to do some bullshit.
Sure did.
Well, because like for us, Happy, right? Like even on spread first, I had to do like a not quite the same, but it was pretty similar.
You have to squeeze between the bubble that's coming right towards you and the bubble that's leaving. Yeah.
Yeah, and the north-south one at the same time, right? Like, and it's so it's weird how it just played out like that. Yeah.
God, I just know that when I watch this, it's just gonna have so many piercing talons. I'm gonna count them. Wait, how many piercing talons do we got? Let's see. 1, 2. Here's a regular GCD. 3. Here comes the. Oh no! Yep, 3. That was a ballsy jump. Only 3. That's not so bad. Yep.
Yeah.
That's base. I mean, that's what I had to do. I had to do the same thing on the other side. So, the difference being, of course, my piercing talon is intended because I'm playing Fizz ranged.
Yeah, and I also can't let my jump drift or anything, or else I'm just fucked for the rest of the encounter because it's all one pull.
Yep. I mean, yeah, you'd have to save it on like an ad or something. Like one of the trash packs is the fixer, which is, I mean, I'm glad that that's there for the fixing, but even still, it's not much of a fix. Hey, good job with that movement, though.
Thanks.
Yeah, speaking of trash packs.
Scare me. You scare me with that fucking jump, though. Jesus.
That jump,
Christ.
yeah, I'm not going to lie, as a non-Dragoon player, I was like, man, because I still think back to the old jumps, and in that, in the old jump, you would be fucking dead there.
Old jump, that's dead.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep, that's dead.
That is, keep in mind, I'd like to reiterate for that clip, that is us doing it the wrong way and refusing to fix it. Not the way you should be doing it, because you can follow the north-south ones and just not do that the whole time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So do not look at that as Criterion. Look at that as we just decided to do it that way. And then there's
day one strats.
Day one strats. That's what it's down to. That's why I don't want to make like a formal Criterion guide, because I have to say don't do this. That's not a guide.
Warning: these are day one strats and shouldn't be adapted by anyone.
Don't watch this, but also thanks for like, favorite, subscribe. Please like, favorite, subscribe, and share.
I mean, they're more than welcome to try.
What you should do is just review, make new strats for everything, and then have people run through it with you again for the guide.
That's what I would do.
Because you're going to have to anyways.
Yeah. That's really difficult with Criterion to find people who want to do it after the third day.
I mean, I'm down.
I'm also down.
Probably not for like 12 hours a day, though.
No. I may want the mount, but not that bad.
I still got some PTO left. I'm just saying.
No.
There you go, Apps. There you go.
Biff, no. Don't use your PTO on. Well, because he's suggesting more 12-hour days. He's like, I got PTO. Let's do it. 12-hour days. I'm down.
I'll do 12 hours of not Criterion. I'll do 12 hours of Eureka.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I'd also do 12 hours of Eureka.
Or Borzia.
Buzia.
Bajja, yes. Bajja.
Are you fiending to do some Eureka lately, Haps or Sly?
I'm always in there. I'm literally just doing buns.
I'm down to do Bajja. I'm so down to do Bajja.
So my girlfriend has been setting up this thing where we just like wake up Sunday, start up the stream, and then we get everybody who's watching who wants to just come do Eureka
on Dynamis.
And we pick a couple areas, and we usually go to Dynamis because there's less people. And then we just do Eureka for like 12 hours, and it's been really fun actually. You know how much easier Eureka is when you have 140 people that you can just go kill that, and they go okay, and they go run and kill it really fast.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah. Eureka. I might make every relic in the game.
Bosja too.
Before Endwalker ends. I might have to go back because I don't have even remotely everything in Eureka. I would need so much high dados.
I just finished my +2 armor. The part that I'm at now is do BA like 8,000 times. Good luck.
All right, I don't know that I'm bothering with the BA portion. I do actually have enough to finish quite a few of the BA things.
Honestly, if you join the Discords that do the scheduled runs like daily.
Oh, I have.
It's real easy. I'm sure you know this, but I'm just saying it for anyone who doesn't.
I'm an Eagle Eye Shot gamer, so I don't have to worry about bringing important things. And then I
on a boss before.
I have died to Ozma. I resurrected, but I did die to auto attacks on Ozma.
That's funny.
I think AV turned and slapped me once too at like 2%. It was just like Eagle Eye Shot, Eagle Eye Shot. Then my name turned yellow, and I was like, because whenever my nameplate's a different color, so it's like when I see the change in color on the target, that's how I instantly know it's me. Oh man, is it yellow? That's a good question. I don't know. Actually, it's yellow or green.
You're colorblind, so you can just call it whatever you want, and anybody will believe you.
No, they won't believe me. They'll correct me. Let me tell you, growing up when Crayola names their colors bullshit like Royal Mountain's Majesty, and I'm like, I don't know what color that is.
What the fuck is this?
Dandelion. I was like, what the fuck color is a dandelion? I don't know. Fucking Crayola. Assholes. Anyway. So the second trash pack, we talked about it earlier. It's their rotation trash pack. Hilarious the first time you do it. Largely a non-factor after that.
Yeah.
Because the mobs, It's just 4 mobs circling, and then they have some have attack buffs, some have defense buffs, and you have to only kill the ones with attack buffs, and they just swap every time you kill one. But they also just start sprinting faster and faster.
I actually really liked that ad room.
It was pretty funny. It's really funny when you kill them you kill the first one for the first time. You see them all kind of just
oh god,
start.
I love how they like take normal size steps, but they move like 4 times the distance as they were.
Yeah,
moving.
It's I would imagine. I think they did that on purpose because I think they know that if they made them walk at twice the speed, it would be so fucking distracting. Like,
oh yeah.
just fucking scuttling about the entire time. Yeah, I mean, this is the easiest of the rotation ones, but by that measure, it is also the least frustrating, which again was kind of the point we made about the trash earlier.
It was still like punishing mechanics. If you got hit, you died, right?
Yeah.
If you messed up the mechanic, you died. But they were simple, and it was like fast movement. And I like that at the end of every mob pack so far in Criterion, this is for all of the Criterion so far, is that last mob gives you enough breathing room to like prep your resources for the upcoming boss, usually.
Yeah, the monk we had a little bit of an issue with the first couple of pulls,
yeah.
but you were fine on the monk. Yeah, I looked, you were fine.
I need to grab something from my door. I'll be right back.
That's fine. Biff, you were fine on the monk.
The monk was such a weird standout in terms of like those last mobs, because I actually agree with Whoops for most of them, right? Like most of the time you're just kind of hanging out, and it's not too bad. But that monk was just like going deep into that second rotation was just painful.
See, I don't wholly agree because I actually think that the golems in Sil D were, and you haven't done Sil D yet, have you?
Not on Savage, no.
Okay, not on Savage. But okay, so on Savage, those golems in the rotating room, I don't think there's a Savage or an Ultimate that's as difficult to do as a healer as that.
I mean, that's just a trend through Criterion Savage, period, right? Like, those trash packs absolutely hit like trucks. Like, I'm just Adlo bombing on Sage because my tank's going to die if I don't.
Yeah. When you do that on Savage, you'll understand. I think you might hate that more than the monk. Those particular mobs on Savage. There's nothing as scary as those fucking things in terms of the outgoing damage that they deal. At least in my opinion. In fact, I'm gonna go back and watch and just cry. I'm just gonna like go and watch my clear VOD. I've never valued curing waltz more than in that fucking room. Holy shit. There we go.
I'm back.
Welcome back. We were just talking about how fucking annoying the golems in the rotating room in Sildi were to heal comparatively to the monk.
Golems in Sildi.
The one before the second boss where they're like really slow. They do like a bleed. There's like a 1 HP mechanic.
Oh, that room. Yeah.
I think that's the hardest.
I don't have too much problems with that room.
I think that Savage version of that room is by far the worst to heal. By like a mile. It's just insane. On normal, it's scary, fine, but on Savage, it's on a whole different level. Oof. Then you have the second boss, the Lala, who I already said I think is one of the easiest of all the Savage bosses.
If you suck at rotations, it was the hardest.
Well, I think that's the big thing though, is that the mechanic that you could be the worst at was a non-lethal mechanic. I think that's the reason why. Because like you got hate to blast you on this, you got damage downs on both of them in our clear.
Oh yeah. No, I was struggling with that one for sure.
Yeah. The key thing here, for those who haven't seen it, it is the Mustadio show them your hole mechanic, but it rotates 90 degrees based on your debuff, and you have to turn it and face the boss, and it knocks you back and gives you a damage down if you do it wrong. But it's not lethal, so you can still make it through and clear even if you can't do that one particular thing. Whereas everything else, I think we solved every other mechanic in one pull of seeing it. So it was by far the easiest overall boss. Like just because his only 4 mechanics are show me your hole, the
chocolate squares,
yeah. Then it was the squares, the fire squares, the Bomberman squares, and then it was the the stack and the fill the holes. There you go.
Spread and stack, yeah.
Yeah, fill the holes, then stack and spread. There you go. That's it. Those are the only 4 things, and all of them were really easy, in my opinion. So, but I think that was well needed for 2 reasons. One, because the third boss can eat an entire dick. At least the last 30% of it can swallow the entire shaft. I don't care.
I thought that fight was really fun, except for the chains and the dartboard. But I'm
That's
sure we'll
why,
get there.
yeah.
We're not there yet, so
Yeah. And because in Savage, it was very comfortable to resource hold. Again, this is a boss that was really comfortable to resource hold. Because you could resource hold on the trash. Yeah, the Lala.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We
You
were
could
so
resource
ahead.
hold really well on the trash before. So you could then resource hold at the end of the Lala really well. So it actually made going into the last boss on Savage very, very cozy. Yeah. If we couldn't do that, we wouldn't have cleared on that pull, because that resource pull is why we cleared. Pretty much. Then you go right into the third boss. It was the Pixie. Very, very visually fun and visually overwhelming boss, but very also executionally creative and fun.
I think Trick Reload was one of my favorite mechanics they've ever added to this game.
It's very simple, but it's about 8 seconds of information that is relevant for like a minute and a half without being really too overwhelming. It's just how it's used with everything else. Biff, how did you feel about the Pixie? Stat type.
I think the Pixie is. I think Trick Reload was really good. I really like the downtime mechanic, especially because when you sit down and look at the way it's supposed to be done and not just run fast, Lamau. I think for me it's been like the hardest Criterion boss though. Honestly, just straight up.
Is that like a personal, do you think it's like a personal weakness thing, or do you think it's genuinely just objectively the hardest boss?
It's hard for me to separate the two of them because I am good at rotations and things that I can logic out, but abstract AoE sizes is something I'm not great at, which the bomb sort of posed trouble for. But I think the combinations of the chain and the wall actually just made execution on the 2 big mechanics really weirdly precise for how 14 usually, or for what 14 usually asks of you. I don't recall the last time I had to be that picky about not just the speed of my movement, but also very specifically the route I took,
Yeah, no, I definitely feel you on that one.
Yeah.
Oh boy, what a fucking time. So Whoops brought up the first major mechanic, Trick Reload. For those, there was a lot of questions in streams about what the fuck was actually being told to you, because
Yeah, a lot of people were like, "How are you figuring this out?"
yeah. And that's, I think, honestly, I do value when that's kind of a by experience thing, because we actually figured out Trick Reload in maybe 2 pulls.
Yep.
But at the same time, it was still like, what the fuck? That's so cool. It just wasn't. Yeah. It was a lot. I think the reason why we ended up liking it is the moment we realized exactly how it worked, which was that. So the way Trick Reload works, for those who don't know, the fairy loads bullets into the gun just like a normal mode, but instead of loading 6 bullets with 2 failures, she loads 8 bullets with 2 failures. So the failures determine what happens for the rest of the fight, but you also have to count each time she fires the gun because it changes where the empty chamber is. Now that only happens a single time, but it's essentially the 1st or the 8th bullet is always a failure, and one of the other 6 is a failure. And
so you're counting bullets the entire time.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, bullets 1 and 8 are for the stack or the spread.
Yeah.
That happens at the beginning of the mechanic and at the end of the mechanic. Whichever one of those bullets failed is the stack, because when she shoots in the air, she doesn't hit the rock because she shoots a blank.
Yeah.
And the center 6 bullets are for, what's it called?
Whatever.
It's like trick shot?
Yeah, it's
playful shot?
Trap
something?
shooting.
Trap shooting is the stack.
Trap shooting is the stack or spread.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought that's what you're asking.
Yeah,
the pizza slice thing is like playful shot or some shit like that. I don't know.
Yeah, But but the big thing is when she fires the first chamber, it actually moves all the other chambers like it would a normal like revolver. So when she fails to load the 5th bullet, she's actually making the 4th spot open later. So that's information you just have to instantly retain. So like the call outs would be like, 1-7 stack. So it'd be like 1-7 is the bullet. So it's stack 6 safe spread later. So that's that call out is it's something that's like really crisp and clean to like pull off and know. But you also have to do other mechanics at the same time. So it's just this like information download that you have to keep relevant in your brain for the next however like minute to minute and a half or so.
It reminded me of stock and release on E12.
Yeah, it's very similar to stock and release. So, and you and I have a lot of experience on stock and
yes, we sure do.
And
Groups
in tight,
in
left
tight,
and right.
left and right.
There it is. That's the one. Always the one. Saving this for fucking revenge showing up just for the quote. Saving this for later. Jesus Christ. And yeah, that's like her chief mechanic, but everything else around it just kind of works really well. The bombs having to designating the safe spot. There's a lot of that in Criterion where it's a lot of visual stuff just to tell you that it's safe to do a stack or a spread somewhere. Like that's the majority of Criterion. It's a stack or a spread and the game trying to like vomit you into figuring out where those even need to happen. And this boss does that incredibly well, on top of having kind of just a neat indicator. And that's, I think, the big thing that makes Criterion more fun. It's a lot of stack and spread and very like standard stuff, but the way that every boss visually tells you how to achieve those things is drastically different than even just each other, not just from the rest of the game, but even from boss to boss, the way it informs you to do that is very, very different. Mm-hmm. And this boss just does it really well. It doesn't use debuffs. It doesn't really do a whole lot with that particular. Everything else visually is fucking nutty. It has the bullets. I'd also say the first 60 to 65%, not really super tough. A little tough to figure out, but executionally.
It was fun to solve, for sure.
Yeah, definitely fun to solve.
But then doing it like 8,000 times was like, okay.
Yeah.
Definitely the kind of fight that doesn't start until 30%.
The end,
right?
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're saying it's backloaded like what Tree was?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's one of the most backloaded fights that I can recall in the game.
Only because of one mechanic, though.
Two mechanics.
It's
but
two,
well,
right?
yeah, I know what you mean by one.
It's-
the chain.
The one mechanic was the only thing that made it hard.
Yeah.
It was the combination of that with the previous things that.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that now?
Yeah, I would like to say that at least when something's backloaded in Criterion, it means it's 2.5 minutes in and not 7 or 8 minutes in.
Or
that's
it's 20 minutes in.
Yeah, I mean, obviously in Savage it is, but I mean on an individual fight basis, that fight, it's only 2.5 to 3 minutes in. Like
it's
when you're just doing normal as a player that with no intention of doing Savage, it's way less frustrating because that's about the same length that Lights Rampant would be, for example, in Shiva. But it's the end of the fight.
It's not backloaded the same way we use the word backloaded for Savage or Ultimate.
Yeah.
It's not even comparable. Like it sucks that it's at the end, but it's also like so much shorter that you can't even really compare.
Yeah, that last 30% feels like half the fight, essentially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's the big thing. So at 30%, Stat Ice goes untargetable, throws a bunch of bombs all over the place, tethers some claws to 2 people, tethers 2 missiles to people, and says, okay, we're going to give you 2 spreads and a 2-stack debuff. Figure out where to stand while not getting touched by any of the explosions on the ground. It's very like Predation. Like it's like Predation with debuffs, kind of. But if Predation had a chain, it would be a million times harder, is all I've learned. Because that's the chief mechanic here. The 2 people with missiles get a chain that has to be broken by running away from each other. You got to start close, so you make sure the chain isn't too stretchy, and then you go far, and then it breaks. Simple, right? No.
So the chain is, the room for error for that, I guess, and by that I mean how far apart you start as soon as the chains actually apply to the two characters has to be, you have to be on top of each other. And in the center of the arena for both the times it happens, there's something already there, so it's really hard to see where you're standing. So that alone is a bad thing. Second, like I mentioned, the distance you have to get apart from your partner is so goddamn far, which sucks. Only because I am 1000% sure at some point in the future they're going to acknowledge the fact that that death wall on that arena is incorrectly displayed. I am. I will actually put money on it that they will fix that wall at some point.
That thing has hands. There is a fucking demon reaching out to grab you. Like, if I touch you, it's like the Grim Reaper.
Whoa, explain.
So the wall on that arena, normally a death wall, right, is like one highlighted line, and then it's got like the faded line, like kind of going inwards, and then it's got like the death wall animation on the outside. In all my time playing this game, I've never seen so many world-class raiders hit a death wall unintentionally. Ever. Because it's not in the right spot. It just 100% is not in the right spot. Here, let me find the screenshot that Nuber posted.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at your video right now, looking at you going through it, and I'm looking at the death wall, and
so look at this, Sly. You can see it really well from the screenshot that Nuber posted. That killed him. So if you can imagine him targeting himself there and then putting the dot in the center of the hitbox, it's wrong. It's straight up, it just graphically incorrect.
Yeah, so to be clear, for those who are unfamiliar, there is only a single pixel of your hitbox that is actually hittable. That is regardless of race, that is regardless of size, and it is in the dead fucking center of your hitbox.
Yep.
And I would love to show you, but I need the link on not Discord because otherwise I have to close everything to open it. I need like the image in my chat or something in order to click it, open it.
Well, he's got UI modifications. Is that okay?
All right, never mind that.
Like the first time I ran into the wall.
No snitching.
Like the first time I ran into the wall, I was like, damn, I can't believe I walled it. It's been so long since I've done that. And then I watched, it was Happy, I think, that made my brain go, nah, that wall's busted. Because he did it like 4 pulls in a row. And I was like, that just
It was only 2 pulls in a row. Hold on. Relax.
However many that was like 2 holes.
It was 4 pulls total, however.
Okay. Yeah, but I saw that happen and I'm like, all right, that is not...
I'm going to crop it, Hap, so you can look at it and chat can too.
That doesn't happen, right?
I'm cropping it for no reason. It's just, I just really wanted to highlight the main portion of this.
I think I'm okay with the chain distance being the way it is if you could trust the wall. Because one of the nice things about 14 is that for all of its faults with like the way the game registers your movement and stuff, you can almost always bank on this game being consistent. Right? Like how close you can get to a death wall in any given other fight, you could run at that really aggressively and have a really good idea of how close you can get and when to turn. But in this fight, I lost that confidence, right? Like I felt really hesitant to just beeline to the wall because I was like, I don't actually know where this wall is anymore. Like I actually have no idea. So hope for the best.
Somebody's phone just went off.
I bet you they changed it.
Sorry. No, it's fine. I was acknowledging that it had occurred. Doesn't bother. Yeah, dude, I've never felt so. I'm gonna put this over Biff's face. That isn't there. There we go. Woo. There we go. Yeah. So the dead center. So see where the left foot is? They're dead already. That left foot is not where that center pixel is. Like not even close to where the center pixel would be on their hitbox. And like, and you gotta understand, this is not us like copium, like we're actually shit and we just found out. Like, that's not what it is. Every group we have spoken to has fucking hated this wall because we are trying to skirt around it on the edge of it, and it is not fucking cooperating.
It's just wrong.
Yeah.
It's visually offset, I think,
And
because the other side was fine.
And here's the thing. After looking over a lot of VODs, it's one particular part of the wall on top of that I've noticed it happens more. And I think it's like the southeast side of the wall. It's like the southeast and like the northwest. There's 2 spots there that are just infinitely more bullshit than the rest. I don't know how else. Maybe it's just coincidence. But all the clips I have of people dying, it's like the bomb is in the bomb we're using as our true north is in the same spot. So it's infuriating.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, here's the thing. I also struggled a bit with P10 for some reason. Like, I didn't struggle with the P12 wall, but like P10, I was always nervous being so close to the outside. I am 10 times more nervous being close to the wall in this fight than I am in any other one.
What, to the poison? Or just the wall?
The wall, like walking off when we're all on one platform. I'm just like, okay, get really close to the edge. Don't go too far. Don't go too far. Expedience, no! All right.
I don't know the last time 14 made me feel uncertain about like a not new mechanic, right? Like about a repeat of an old mechanic. It has like the same vibe of like when the twister timing was a little bit different, right? But like that was at least I understood that, you know what I mean? But this I just even still I don't know, man. I'm still spooked about that wall.
With how far they want you to get apart from your partner, I don't think that wall is okay. If it were a fight where you never need to get that close to the wall, but there's still hard mechanics, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. Yep. But when you give us that chain and then you say, okay, go break it.
Yeah.
It's just like,
It also didn't help that the way that we decided to do that was such a you have to do this quick that you really couldn't stop to like make sure 100%. Like you really just had to be able to do one fluid motion.
Yeah.
Because
you had to do it so fast.
I started us on the correct way to do it, and then we're like, no, we're not gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
I've never gone from the right strat to the harder strat, and then said something and had people be like, we can do it this way. It's fine.
It's funny you say that. I actually think the way we did it is easier because it's so much easier to orient.
Yeah.
Like it's just brain off, right?
I liked how we ended up doing it.
You say that, but that's only because of we changed 2 things and we changed one of them and then changed the other because we were also running opposite of the missile when we were doing the other strat. Like we were always running opposite of the missile, not like, opposite side of the room. Mm-hmm. So we changed the arena orientation before changing the missile, and then after we changed the way we did the missiles, we never went back. So yeah, no, trust me, the other way, this wouldn't have happened nearly as much because there's no skirting along the wall at all when you do it the north-south way. But either way, I mean, it's still bullshit. The wall, that doesn't change the fact that wall is bullshit.
Yeah.
And I've never been more afraid of a wall. And I never will be, I hope.
I truly hope that I never just get murked by a death wall like that again, man.
I actually think they should just, like, shorten the distance required to break that chain by, like, 25%, and that would make that mechanic way better, and then also the mechanic after that way better.
Yeah. So whereas the death wall is a concern, I think only like 10% personally, but either something at all.
Just slightly shorter.
Yeah. The mechanic after, ironically, we weren't as afraid of it at first, and then we actually like started breaking it down, and this is like the wormhole of fucking Criterion.
It's tough.
Yeah. The dartboard is genuinely like the wormhole of Criterion, like the unironic, because there's just enough variables between 4 people and the arena orientation that you'll have to follow to like do it 100% successfully every time. That it can be a lot. It's a lot of information to parse at a single time, and actually way less time to parse it than wormhole. Mm-hmm. It's actually like kind of, and it's because the chain, if you make a mistake on the chain, that's it, you're done. So there's like no leniency whatsoever on it, but it's also a really fucking well done mechanic as a whole, as frustrating as it is. So for those, we mentioned the dartboard earlier. We kind of skipped over the fact that 3 players got a debuff and everyone needed to be on a different color. So there's red, blue, and yellow?
Yellow.
Okay.
Yes.
Genuine question. And the first time you do the dartboard, all 3 players need to either be doing a stack or a spread while being on different ones. Like I said, it's a really creative way to force you to understand the arena. First time around, it even moves the bombs, rotates the bombs around the arena, so you have to keep track of that orientation. Again, really simple, but really fun. This time, there's a dart placed on the board telling you that, okay, that one's already taken. You can't do anything about that. Fill the other 2. So then 2 players get the dart. And who gets the dart's completely random. What mechanic they're assigned right after is completely random. And there's also a rotation that one of the 3 rotations is like a true north orientation, but you have to figure that out based on where the dart is. So once we figured that out, the mechanic got way easier, but it's still just like this information parsing that you have to do, followed by then getting to the correct dart while breaking the chain and while doing enumeration and while making sure you don't get rotated into by a rotating AoE that's going around the room at the same time.
Very scary.
Very
mechanic vomit.
Yeah.
So when I saw everything go out, I'm sure Happy shares this sentiment as well. I was like, okay, there's 3 sections of the map it wants us to use. We put the defamation in one. We put the other defamation right next to that one, and then we send the enumeration to the one they don't go to. Okay, so let's solve the rest. Thinking. Hey, that doesn't fucking work. Because this chain is bullshit. So we need to literally split them cardinally apart on opposite sides of the arena, and maybe it'll break if we're lucky. Then we have to adjust from there. If they would have made it just slightly shorter, Haps, we could have just like picked 2 of like the third rinse, I was calling them, and then just toss them in there and then send the enumeration to the other one and then just keep rotating. And it would have been so easy. It would have been so goddamn easy.
Yeah, but
it would have been fun to do still, but
yeah. But instead, like, somebody has to run like at one of the things as it's rotating away and go with it while the other person fills an empty spot and goes away from another one.
And has to like get really close to it, rotating into them.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, I think the chains being how they are partially made that mechanic like as exciting as it was, right? Because
That's
like,
the word.
yeah, no, I like because like doing all my mitt in the middle, right, and then it's like, okay, I have dart and I have chain, and then running out and doing all that while still rotating and seeing that fire AoE behind you, like it was a lot going on. But I don't know. At least for me, I think that's part of what kept it exciting, like pull over. And I still think if I went back, right, it would still be a very tense mechanic.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would have still been tense had it not had that arbitrary ass chain length.
Yeah, because no matter what, like, technically the solution is still roughly the same, no matter, like, even if the length is a little bit less. But honestly, what we ended up struggling with was making sure the dart people knew exactly where to go in any sort of arrangement, which
I think
again
that's
is
the fun and hard part of it.
Yeah, because it's making sure, because you could be the enumeration with it, you could be the person who's sharing with the enumeration with it, and need to make sure that you are in the enumeration, but in your square, or in the enumeration needs to make sure they know that you need that square. Like they need to be aware what you need, even though they don't need it. So there's like all that information needs to be parsed very, very quickly.
I've been thinking of this mechanic since we saw it. Still, like, it's my Roman Empire right now. Like, I was thinking, like, is it possible to just have whatever role you are take your like role color, like we were doing for the first one, and then just have someone flex? And I was like, no, because of the location the chains are going. Is there any way you can change around that? No, I could not think of another way to do it besides the way we did.
And I think that you can tell. I mean, we had Sindolf hopped into comms right after we cleared and asked how we were able to just get to a definitive conclusion based on our debuff so quickly. And that was just like a reps thing. Like it was like after so long of seeing like who has what debuff, we could just instantly be like, okay, both the DPS have it. This is the only way we're solving it. Like without waiting for any debuffs to go out. Which was a really nice thing to be able to do, because the one consistent bit is it's always one DPS and one support tethered and one DPS and one support enumeration. If that was random, it would have been wholly fucked.
Yeah.
That would have been like the one thing everyone's railing on Biff for liking top and
It's hard being right in this world, you know?
Biff's just a contrarian, and you're just gonna have to get used to it.
I like top, but I'd like to never do it again at the same time. Is that weird?
Yeah, the only way I like top is that I don't have to do it again.
I just like when a fight makes me contemplate if I'm stupid. You know, that's all.
I think it can do that and not have bad mechanics. That's
If I could only see Biff's face right now. Yeah. Oh man. And so I'd love to talk about the last mechanic, but I was fucking dead for it. So so now it's fine. We can talk about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. Like, you've been dead for
minute and 40 seconds. Minute and fucking 40 seconds. I'm shocked we were that far ahead.
I'm wondering how y'all got through the rest of the mechanics, like knowing damn well that they're suited for 4 people.
So the stack you can 3-stack.
Yeah.
Biff, how much mid did you put on that last stack?
Yep.
I didn't have a ton. It was shield plus 10%, but a really important thing to remember is that all Criterion like incoming damage is tuned around like presumably like white mage, right? Like white mage has to be able to do it.
Oh, right, yeah.
So even just shield plus 10% goes a really long way in terms of buying you breathing room, right?
Yeah.
I love that white mage has to be able to. I mean, you're right. You're completely right.
Yeah,
but
I never even considered that actually.
So like that's one of the really nice things about bringing shield is you just always have extra room for surviving scuff things. Although we had it was stack first then spread at the end. I don't remember.
No. It was spread then stack. It was spread.
It was spread then stack. Yeah.
Yeah, it was stack at the end because I remember
Keo.
Happy going stack, and then Keo went, "Oh, it's stack. I'll go to 3. I mean 4. I mean D." And then the stack went off
because someone went hit extra mid, and like I had my cooldowns pretty well strung along to like cover the last enrage cast, but that meant they were a few seconds away still, and I was just like,
Yeah, I made sure to throw out the reminder because I was dead. I was like, it's going to be stacked next, so make sure there's something extra.
And that enrage was close.
It was
real
like,
close.
like 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds or so.
And we can say that was like the cherry on top for saying goodbye to Dragoon for me. I'm not even kidding. We cleared that because of how this job is right now. I hope you know that.
Oh yeah, I know because of the resource opener put us so far ahead. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, the resource opener gave us like an extra 5-10% on the opener just from Dragoon alone, probably. And that was huge. It was awesome.
Yeah. And I gave you, and you still had 30 seconds left to standard step after I died, at least.
Yep.
Yeah, it's actually a thing I wanted to look is how long was standard step still
That
up?
standard
30
step
seconds,
was
yeah.
it. So when I knew he was dead and I saw the standard step, I knew I wasn't getting tech step. I popped my 2 minutes immediately. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, I looking back, I wouldn't have ever thought to do this, but I should have popped Devil Mint right before I died. I should have just pressed it.
You should have just pressed my parting gift. Go.
I could have also thrown a Starfall out in that.
You were
exact moment,
convinced we were dead.
I was
You
very
said,
convinced,
Just
yeah.
get a percent. That was gonna be a clear. Dang it.
I got at 17%. I say, oh, that would have been a clear. At 12%, I was like, I think that they might still have it.
Yeah, and then the LB did like fucking 4%, and I went, wait, it's dead. We just killed it. It was awesome.
What a fucking clear. But the last mechanic is actually, it's interesting. It's a nerve check. The very last mechanic boils down to a nerve check, which is it, I don't think they've ever done that for a really, I guess technically like the bosses, like the first boss repeating the first mechanic is kind of a nerve check.
They're staying true to Ultimate, dude.
Well, the last boss of Rokon sort of did too, right? Because after you finished the jumping ninja mechanic, he just did more of the telegraphed cleaves, right? And it was just like are you still paying attention? Are you overthinking it?
Mm-hmm.
So it was. I mean, it wasn't to this. I guess the thing is like that's a repeated mechanic, but I think it served kind of the same purpose, right? Because
Whereas
meanwhile, Sildin boss was like, die, just like gives all the guitar strings and shit. Oh my god,
that's definitely the most stressful last mechanic of all of them. It's like, yes, so here's 8 strings, here's 4 split damage AoEs, 1-2 tower, 3-4 tower, 1-2 strings, 3-4 strings, 1-2 tower. Here's a ground. Here's
nuts.
baited ground AoEs, then conal ground AoEs while you're breaking the strings into a tank buster. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ, can you stop, you fucking dick? As if the portals weren't bad enough. This motherfucker does not know how to quit. Yeah, no, this
I
one.
love portals.
I do like the portals too. But this one, yeah, this one's just like, we're going to give you some forced marches. We're going to give you the bombs on the ground, the pizza slice, the stabs. It's just, it was like a mini reprieve of the downtime mechanic, but without the chains in a way and without the enumeration. It's just the forced march plus stack and spread kind of things. So that one gets a big approval. If the chain and the wall were like a little less fucky, it would definitely be kind of an overall, I think, one of the best bosses. But I think those bring it. They fundamentally, like, they conceptually don't bring the boss down. They executionally bring the boss down slightly.
Yeah. I like the mechanic. I don't like how far it made you go, I guess.
Yeah.
In combination with everything else.
I think the last mechanic that made me that frustrated at just the way it works in Final Fantasy IV might be Digititis.
Yeah, that's actually, it's funny because when we were progging and that deathfall happened, it kind of, Digitize actually jumped to my brain too, in terms of just like, man, I wish I could just move and trust this, but I can't.
Yeah. For those who don't know, the Digititis in Gordius
it's a mechanic.
That's a mechanic. Not really anymore, in all honesty, but it was at a point.
I think it was Biff that brought it up, but the chain also, like with how strict it was, kind of reminded me of caloric.
Yeah.
Where like even once you understood how it worked, you're still sometimes just like, please work, please.
Kind of close your eyes when you hear the explosions go off.
Yeah.
You're like, please. I just want to hear the sound of the wind and nothing else. And then you hear the rest and you're like,
well,
opens eyes, dead.
Doo-doo.
But yeah, so there's actually one final bit before we wrap up here. Because obviously Savage is the final bit, but there's nothing new to talk about Savage. The ads hit harder. There's the enrage check, which, we already mentioned that we somehow beat. We had a whole extra minute going into the third boss to boot. So we sat around for a minute and waited for everything, set up markers, saved, did everything, and still was able to do it. But there's been a lot of discussion about if Savage should even exist in Criterion. I know we talked about the reward earlier, but should it even exist? Or if it does, in this form, should it exist? Of largely being the 23-minute don't fuck up check.
I think yes.
You think that's the way? You wouldn't prefer a different way? You wouldn't prefer...
What do you mean different way? What are you thinking for alternatives then, I guess is the question.
Yeah.
I saw somebody say, actually make new mechanics, and more importantly, include the secret boss in Savage. That's the big thing. But take away the zero death aspect of it. They were like, make it longer, add the secret boss as another bit that's like full on, like commit to the ultimate like level difficulty that you're kind of shooting for here in the idea, and make it a full boss, like make it a full 10-minute like final boss kind of situation. And then to do that, but just eliminate the zero deaths aspect.
Wouldn't that be ultimate?
Yeah. It's already, it basically already is.
Yeah. So why, like,
just to make it not the normal mode, but on repeat, essentially. And something you can't practice in normal mode and then just run into Savage and get a perfect run.
How about this?
Yeah, different.
They just rename normal to Savage, and then they make an ultimate version or whatever they want to call it, and then they add the secret boss as the final boss.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what I'm thinking is, do we think that this solution is the one that we have now is the ideal and is what they should do going forward, or if they should make an adjustment? I'm just trying to hit all the feedback points. So.
I don't know if I'd want to give up the no death thing.
I like the no death thing too.
Yeah.
What if they add an achievement for not dying in the entire run?
Flawless.
The flawless hero. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. I think as long as there's still like a tangible reward, and I'm not talking like a samurai you put on your table in your apartment, like something like a title. If there's still a tangible thing to be like, hey, I did like this really hard thing. Honestly, I don't even need a title, even just like the achievement, right? Like as long as there's an in-game distinction that I did that for myself, I'd be okay with it. because then like there's still an in-game reason to do it. That's not just like arbitrarily, oh look, we did it without deaths, right? Like it's I don't know.
It'd be so easy to cheese the criterions if you let people res, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
3 people wall, paladin hits hollowed ground at hard mechanic. Res
Res
everyone.
one at a time, yeah.
And
Yeah. I mean, that's why maybe one res the entire dungeon, but then you'd still use it on the one mechanic that you're fucking around with.
Yeah.
Which is why I think,
Yeah.
like, because here's the thing, you could even do it, like, maybe normal Criterion has flawless normal, and then Criterion Savage with, you know, not being a permadeath thing has flawless Savage, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much so long as there's like still something for the no death system, I'm down for pretty much whatever, honestly. Like it's one of those things where that to me is like one of the big sticking points for Criterion Savage. So
Yeah. Yeah, I just was looking to see if maybe there was some feedback, some thought. I do think the reason why it's exactly the same is I think chat brought up a dev resource thing. I think that's like they've determined is kind of the middle ground they need to meet if they want to do it. So I don't know that necessarily is the thing. I assume that's like an encounter, like they would need more encounter developers maybe to have like the time to get that done in a reasonable time. Dartboard hell kills through invuln. So do the tornadoes. We've learned as well.
Yeah.
Although dartboard hell killing through, I guess wouldn't even matter though, because you need more than one person alive to even screw it up enough, unless you go to the exact same dart. Oh, I guess the dead body would have to be on the right dart, which is fine. You could arrange that. You could arrange doing that. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to float the idea of a change, see if there's worth a discussion. All right. Well, yeah, I'd say that covers everything that's important for 6.51. We do still have a few remaining patches before everything's up. We have the 14 and 16 collab sometime later in the patch cycle. 6.55 is Allied Tribe Quest. That is Tataru's Quest. That is MSQ. That is Hildebrand. That is the combat relics. Combat, not that much is involved. And then... when did they add the last fish? Is that 0.55? Whoops, because I know you're waiting on the fish.
5.5 is the that's your Lancet. That's your death. It's all the hard ones, the ones that take months and months and months to get. So expect to see me in hell.
I'll stick to my boats. And I don't have to go back to my boats unless they decide to fuck me on it.
I really, really hope you start your big fish arc soon so I could come watch. I am very much looking forward to that.
I think I'd rather castrate myself. On TikTok, though, not on Twitch, because I don't care what happens to me on TikTok. So there you go. That's it. Subscribe to my TikTok for exclusive castration content.
Yay! My favorite.
It's trending!
Yeah, so that's like Aquamaton, Lystracanthus. I'm just looking at the list right now. Lancet.
Wait, these are new big fish?
Cinder Surprise. No. Those aren't the new ones. I'm just saying...
they're the equivalents.
Historically, the 0.55 fish have been things like Elad Scan, where it's up once every 2 weeks for 90 seconds of real life time. Or like Lancet, where you have to catch 2 less than 1% fish in less than 10 minutes, and then catch the even less percent chance after that. Basically, the fuck you fish.
And this guy flames
I already do
like
gotcha.
top.
I already do gotcha. I don't need any more gotcha. I'm good.
Fishing is fun.
I'm good.
Fishing is fun. Fishing is fun. Fishing is fun.
Is it? I mean, I know I have a friend who's a fisher. He doesn't even tell me about this shit.
Well, the thing about it is 90% of the fish are like, oh, this one's up. I'm going to go try to get it. And there's like a solid chance that you get it, right? That's how most of the big fish are. And then there's just those really, really bad ones.
Fuck you, fish.
Mm-hmm. You set alarms for months. You're like, oh, 3 a.m., time to go try. Doesn't get anything, cries, goes back to bed.
You're either doing it for that or for that Island Sanctuary monster you didn't catch that only shows up every fucking 6 days.
Mm-hmm.
Weird how there's that overlap with that. Great.
Please do Big Fishing happy.
No.
Please. You'd love it, actually.
Why would you think that?
It's collectionist. I don't know
have
how
to
you like to
collect
collect all the relics, but you don't want to go collect all the fish.
Because I don't have to set an alarm to wake up at 3 a.m. to do my relic.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, golly gee,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go work on my relic today, not woken up out of a dead sleep. Cinder surprises up, go, go, go! Like, nah, dude.
Kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, time-gated shiny Pokemon. Nice.
Yeah,
Yep.
when I want to catch
Great.
my shiny Pokemon, I just want to go catch my shiny Pokemon.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want to have to wake up at 3 a.m. because the shiny Pokemon's only available at 3 a.m.
Dude. If I want to do that, there's like, I don't know, other older. That's like some old early 2000s MMO jank, right? Everyone's paging each other because a rare mob is up. Nah, miss me with that. It's 2023. I'm done. I'm chilling.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so
It's
also
It's so
done.
bad,
Sleep.
but I love it. I can't
We
stop
are
doing
sleep.
it, man.
Yeah, listen, in Final Fantasy 11, I used to just leave my PC on max volume or my PS2 and my TV on max volume so people could do like the bongo call while I'm asleep to wake me up for when something spawned.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Nah, we don't. We're chilling now. I'm tired. Can't
What?
make me do that anymore.
We're gonna kill
That is some fuck shit.
We're gonna kill Cerberus with 5 people. I have school at 6 a.m. Will we be done in time?
That is some fuck shit.
Yeah, it sure is. And I did it. I don't want anyone ever questioning my 11 loyalties when I was in high school. Listen, that game's the reason I had such a high GPA, because playing that game meant sitting still for 2 hours and 59 minutes and doing my homework while I waited for 1 minute for something to happen. It was glorious. And I learned vocabulary. I learned vocabulary, very colorful vocabulary through the internet. All right. With that, I think we've got everything covered. So I think we can go ahead and wrap this show up. So thank you, Biff. Thank you, Whoops, for joining for this discussion.
My pleasure.
Good. Thanks for having me.
I do have one question for you, Whoops. How many Fall Guys games did you win during the show?
Let me get a number for you. Hold on.
This guy's insane.
Character, gold saucer. 4.
It's pretty good.
During our prog, I got 4.
So wait, during our prog or during State of the Realm?
During our prog.
Okay.
Today, no, I just played those couple games today.
Oh, okay. I expected you were actually playing literally the entire show. Not gonna lie.
No. I did my Blue Mage logs and then I was eating my dinner too.
Multitask.
Yep.
Got something done at the very least. All right. Well, with that, why don't let's do some outros. Biff, we'll start with you. Why don't you tell everyone who you are?
I'm Biff. I've been playing this game for nearly half my life at this point. You know, just here to have a good time, do content. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Yeah, Biff doesn't normally stream or anything, so I knew you were just gonna do call out and whatnot. Because if you did, that's where you would shout that out.
Ah, yeah, I don't.
No, you don't. No, I know. Whoops. For those who don't know who you are.
Yeah, so I'm Whoops. I've been playing this game for about half my life and love doing content. Thanks for having me.
Great. I had already forgotten what Biff had said, so I'm glad that you remembered it so quickly. My brain capacity is way too low for that to have committed to such a bit. Way too low. That's it. So Sly, don't you even fucking think about it. This is the joke I would do.
Please do it.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Sly, and since I'm old as fuck, I played this game for 1/4 of my life, and yeah.
I love doing content. Gonna have to make that a command in my chat. I'm just gonna have to make a hey, I'm
Love
Mr.
doing
Happy.
content.
I've been playing. That's it. Just gonna write my version of it.
Oh no, dude.
Yeah, Twitch, Sly the Fox, Sly aka Gray Fox. Twitter is Sly the Fox. YouTube.com/Velvet Room. We're in November. This is my 10 years of streaming. I'm old.
Yeah, you are. Sorry.
Sly, there's somebody who is younger than how long you've been streaming that has watched you before. How does that make you feel?
You know, have you seen that? Have you seen that clip where you've seen that, like, I guess it's like a TikTok or a video clip where it's who is it? Kevin Hart and Don Cheadle, and Kevin Hart goes, "Damn."
Yeah, and he goes,
Like,
what the?
yeah, and Don Cheadle's like, I'm turning 50 something. Kevin Hart's like, "Damn."
Yeah, I've seen that clip.
That's the feeling. That's the feeling.
Yeah, he has to apologize
I'm Don
right
Cheadle.
after.
He's like, "My bad." Yeah, I'm Don Cheadle in this scenario. Yeah, that's how I feel.
All right, Don Cheadle. Thanks for being on the show, Don Cheadle.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Normally you pass it over to me after that. Are you just thinking about being old now?
Yeah.
He's just lamenting
And
on
here's
being
your
old.
host with the most, Mr. Happy 1227.
No, I don't have the most. Not anymore. At the very... Dude, ever since I started working out, the number of men who have asked me to crush them and things has been exceedingly high. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've got two comments here on Twitter right now from just earlier today that literally says, "Do you think you'd be interested in crushing my skull like a watermelon with those guns? Holy shit."
Yo.
Well, that's just how the dudes lift each other up, you know?
Do you mean physically or emotionally?
It's up for
Yes.
debate.
Chat says, "Crush me with your Happy Meals." I like that one. That one's funny. Just bros being bros. You find me Mr. Happy, just playing video games. I'm excited. So tomorrow I have a sponsored charity stream where Butterfinger is teaming up with Final Fantasy VII, and we're going to be giving out some DLC codes for a bracelet for when Rebirth comes out for every $5 donated, and Butterfinger's matching the first $1,000 that gets donated. So first $1,000 is $2,000. So I'll be doing a bunch of stuff. I'll be doing 14. I'll be doing Theater Rhythm, which has all of its DLC packs out now with the 16 pack done. So it's like Near, Replicant, Octopath, Live Alive. I forget. There's like a billion other games in there. 16. I don't even know all of them. I can't even name all of them. There's so many packs. We're going to be doing song requests for donations and stuff like that.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So raising
You're
money
gonna
for
be big fishing right after.
Yeah.
Let's go.
No. I was raising money for Extra Life, not doing big fishing. Maybe do I last second decide if we reach $10,000? Yeah, I have to
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
do. No.
No. If we reach $10,000, you have to try to catch all big fish before Dawn Trail.
Chat raised it to 20K. I've never seen chat raise a charity incentive before
I'll
in my
do
life.
it.
That's how fucking scared I am. Chat was like, "No, 20K. Don't do that." This is dude. Frosty's still trying to pay it forward
They're
with
like-
top. It's been like a year.
They're like, you should ask for more money. Yeah, 20K. Yeah. Sure.
Frosty's learned what seemed like a good incentive is quickly becoming a bad incentive.
They're almost done, and it seems like they're having a good time. I got to play with them
Yeah,
a couple sessions.
yeah. I've watched Frosty stream enough to see he has a good time.
Let's just say I'm glad we got our 20 clears done, me and Biff.
I have one clear still.
Would you believe me?
You
if I
missed
said I was-
out, man.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't bring myself to do it every weekend anymore. I was way too busy. I was like, I can't be a part of this. I need to go. I need to go.
I don't blame you in the slightest.
Oh my God. Kill me. Anyway. Now I got to do 20 Criterions instead, though. Let's go.
Yay. That's something you could do in a day.
3 an hour if you were to never wipe.
Yeah. It's easier than Ultimate.
Yeah.
Nope.
Nope. Segment that out. Anyway, we're going to go into a short post show so they can get on with their days and get food and whatever else they're going to be doing. So thanks everyone for hanging out. We will not have a show next week. Sly's got he's going to be occupied next week. So I'll figure something out for the week after that. Good. So thanks everyone for watching, and thanks again to our guests for joining, and we'll see you next time. Until then.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you soon. I'm old.